Good evening and welcome to State Center as we are getting ready for high school football. It's our first game of the year. Well, it's almost everybody's first game of the year, although a few teams played last week in week 0. And we've got a good one for you. Depending on what you think of the early season polls, right now South Hardin is 5th, West Marshall is 6th. So this is a big game in Class 1A. Andy Jennings with you alongside Chuck Carpenter here on Radio On The Go Sports and Rewind 93 KDAO. This should be a fun one, and what a great way to start the season, Chuck. Great weather and two great teams. Should be fun.
Now, Andy, the first thing I want to ask you about, and for those of you watching this online, we just zoomed in on the players shaking hands and those sorts of things. Now, Andy, I always wondered, because now I'm kind of doing color commentating in camera and not a lot of play-by-play, is that just a ceremonial thing, or is that the official one? Because sometimes they say, well, we do a ceremonial thing, where they do the coin flip and who is the home team and things like that. That's my first question. See, I'm asking you questions, Andrew.
That's actually the official coin toss. That's why you rarely see the referee actually flip the coin up when the teams meet at midfield. It's because they've already done it.
Okay. So. Well, as you mentioned, Andy, yeah, it's a beautiful night for high school football. Now, Andy, and who knows what's going to happen next week or the week after, but sometimes what the weather can be like. Everybody says the same thing. Oh, man, the first week of school and then the first football game of the night, sometimes it can be smoking hot, but it really is a beautiful night for high school football here in State Center. And I know we got a lot of pregame stuff, but I did want to give some shout-outs. I want to give some shout-outs. It's always fun to come over to West Marshall to do West Marshall football. Tonight, of course, they're taking on the Tigers of South Hardin. In itself, that's going to be a great game. But they're always, they just roll things out. I want to thank them for the Ethernet. I want to thank them for the power. I want to thank the house movers for moving the house because it was blocking the driveway and we could have had a problem with that. So I want to thank the house movers for that. So that's kind of where I wanted to start off. But yes, it's a beautiful night for high school football. And Andy, you never know about the rankings and what they're like. But it's a very attractive matchup. And Andy, this is always one of those fun games. I don't know about you, but because we cover so many area games, and you always say every year, boy, I wonder what would happen if this team plays this team. And for the last many, many years, I've always said, especially in the playoffs, because I think they played each other last year, maybe for the first time in the regular season, Andy. I think West Marshall lost up there to South Hardin.
It was the first time since 2017.
Yes.
They played last year, and South Hardin won 28-7.
And it's kind of like the same way, of course, everybody's in different classes, but when they're in different classes, it's almost like, when all these teams are good, it's just like, geez, I wonder what would happen if Grundy Center played West Marshall, okay? Man, that'd be a great game. Geez, I wonder what would happen, if West Marshall played South Hardin. And I think they used to scrimmage each other, but then last year they just had the full-blown game. And I know in that game last year, West Marshall, and, I don't know about South Hardin, but I know West Marshall, and some teams are like this, Andy. Some teams are still, what do you call that, a little vanilla, because it is non-district, and you don't want to give away all your secrets. Do you find that happen sometimes?
That definitely can happen sometimes, and sometimes that's just your offense. And I think we're going to see two teams tonight that really love, they want to be balanced, but they both likely want to start with running the football. But we are going to go to our first coaches interview as we've got a pregame interview coming up with South Hardin head football coach Nick Eller. And that's on the way for you next on Rewind 93 and Radio On The Go YouTube.
Coach, you know what? You're getting ready to take on West Marshall. Going to be a good game on Friday night. But, Coach, I'm asking all my coaches this question. I know your focus is on West Marshall. Coach, could you go back in time a little bit and just real briefly, the scrimmage that we had in Union, if that was a good situation, and if did it change anything in practice? I mean, anything that you saw in the scrimmage, from player evaluation to schemes, are we tweaking anything because of that scrimmage, or didn't it mean anything that way, please, Coach?
Yeah, I think you definitely change and just learn so much from the scrimmage. I really like the scrimmage for that reason. You just find out, what guys are going to step up, what guys need to work on, what guys are ready, maybe not ready. I thought everyone we saw play in the varsity stuff just showed us that they're ready and capable. We just have to clean up, the basic stuff that we think coaching or just, they just need more experience at. So we just got to rep it more at practice. It kind of tells us what to I like the scrimmaging. It kind of tells us where we need to practice on the next week. And then, the rest of the season as the games go will kind of be the same way. Like, here's what we're struggling with. We need to work on this. So we use it that way. We also use it of kind of find out what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses. At this point of the season after watching the scrimmage and, kind of gave us some of the stuff like that. But I really liked the scrimmage. I thought it was good for us. I thought we saw some really good things. And also saw some things that, boy, we need to get cleaned up fast because we got a good West Marshall team coming up.
Coach, how about another thing that's an intangible? It doesn't show up on Go Bound, and you talked about this about 2-3 weeks ago. You always said, Chuck, it's interesting to see who are going to be my leaders. It doesn't necessarily have to be seniors, and of course, you lost some good seniors, and you got some good leaders from last year. And about 3 weeks ago, you said, Chuck, it's still kind of a work in progress. Have we starting to see some of that senior leadership, whether they're vocal, non-vocal? Have we started to see some of that emerge, Coach? How important is that?
Yeah, I have seen some of that, and that's been really good to see. You never really know until fully. I don't think until you kind of get into the season and the games wise, to know when the swing of momentum happens, what guy's going to step up, talk, kind of voice their leadership, and what way they do that too. It's always a little bit different too. So this is definitely a quieter group overall compared to our past year where we had some really vocal guys. So that's definitely, just going to be different, and it's going to be a different type of leadership in a way. But I've definitely seen guys that are, starting to kind of take those reins. I think we'll really need a lot of that Friday versus West Marshall when you're on the road to start. There'll be some adversity at some point. How are we going to handle that? How are they going to lead that?
Coach, now another thing that's always interesting to me, it kind of goes back to play evaluation. I promise I'll get to West Marshall in just a little bit, but it's interesting, Coach. You know what? This week I've interviewed 3 football coaches, and they say, Chuck, we pretty much know exactly what every player can do, what position they can play, and how they fit. And then honestly, I've got a couple of football coaches say, you know what, Chuck, we're still evaluating that. And it may take a week or 2 weeks before we know exactly what everybody is capable of doing. Without revealing secrets over the radio, where do the Tigers stand in that thing, please, Coach?
I'd definitely say we're still evaluating too. I'd say there's maybe half on each side of the ball that we feel pretty good about. That's, we kind of know exactly where they need to be or where they're going to help us. There's another half where we're just trying to see, how they're going to play in this first game, maybe the second game, what they're best at, what their, maybe their weakness is. So I'd definitely say we've got half of each side that we're still evaluating, still trying to see where they fit us best, where they help themselves the best, all that kind of stuff, just because it's just so early and you're only getting 3 weeks basically of a practice. To be able to get to that point, it's just so much shorter than your college and NFL training camp time where they get, close to a month or more to be able to figure that out in mini camps. This is just such a short span, and you're only in pads for some of that. So that just makes it tough to know exactly how the kids are going to go, until you see them in the game, you see them with the lights on all of a sudden and everything's flying and everything's, the pressure's on. How are they going to react to that too? They may have the ability, but don't react well to pressure. So you don't know. And I know it's kind of the part of coaching that people maybe don't realize outside of coaching, that they might look really good at practice and all of a sudden the game, it's not going as well. So you hope that's not the case, but there's always some of that just at some time.
And Coach, listen, I know that you're concerned about the Tigers, but it's always interesting as I visit with all these different football coaches, at least around the area. And you know what? I'm not revealing any secrets from West Marshall to Grundy Center to even East Marshall. A lot of the coaches kind of say the same things. We must have had a lot of good offensive linemen last year because a lot of football teams I talk to, they say, you know what, Chuck? We've got some pretty good skill people back, but you know what? We've really got to replace some linemen. Are the Tigers like that, Coach, or, are we pretty experienced up front, Coach? That's always a big part of the game, isn't it, sir?
It definitely is. It was our strong point last year, along with some good skill guys. Really made a good combo. We're replacing them too. I think, like I said, I don't think many teams aren't. I agree with you on that. We're replacing 4 of our 5 starters last year that are all seniors that are gone because we had a great senior class and some great players. We got a handful of those guys in that group we're mixing and matching in the O-line. Got a good amount of playing time last year. They just weren't a senior or didn't start. So they're just got a lot of experience to gain, a lot of reps they just need to get, live reps versus another team. So it's going to be growing pains. It's going to be, a good play here and then a bad play possibly because of just, learning the game and learning the varsity game. Just a lot different than the JV game and playing a full game that way. So we're in the same boat. I think there are a lot of teams that way. I think the team that can kind of get that group to gel and mesh together the fastest is going to be a tough team to beat right off the bat anyway.
Okay, Coach, now listen. This probably strays into that infamous category of I don't want you to reveal any secrets over the radio. But and I didn't do many of your games last year, but the one game I did, maybe two, I just saw the Tigers as a team that could run the ball and pass the ball. And this year, Coach, like when I see you play against West Marshall on Friday, I'm kind of thinking West Marshall is going to try to run the ball first. That's what Coach says. With you guys, do you think you can do both again this year, Coach? Or are we still figuring that out?
I think we really want to just every year try and be as 50-50 as possible. It definitely starts with the running game. There's no doubt about that. We want to be able to do that first. But we really want to try and be similar to last year where we can be very, very balanced to be able to keep teams on their toes and hard to know when a run's coming, when the pass is coming, and not give it away with formations or players and all that kind of stuff. So I would say we'd be very similar, and I hope that's our case every year when I'm coaching. We can be very, very balanced, very, and maybe you need one or the other more on a given night, and that happened a lot last year where we needed the pass maybe some nights and needed the run more some other nights. That's a great sign of a balanced offense, where you can use both and be strong in both. And that's, I don't think we're there yet. We're probably haven't ever been in week one. But we'll find out Friday night kind of, where we're at with both of those. And then as the year goes, we kind of got to tweak it to make it to where it's hopefully more and more balanced as we go.
Well, Coach, and another thing, and this first game is always very interesting to me because, okay, next week and the week after, and then when you start district play, there's going to be film out there, and you can sit down and you can watch film. But I don't think we have many film on West Marshall. So, Coach, do we just try to focus on our own team? Do we try to get the Tigers ready for anything on defense they're going to see from West Marshall, or how do we approach that when there's no film out there for West Marshall to look at?
No doubt, it's definitely tough because you're trying to mix both them in. So it definitely makes it hard when you don't have that first film to be able to watch. So we'll definitely have our work cut out for us. Maybe have to make some quick adjustments or something they're doing different than past years. But right now, I think everyone's got in that same boat where you're just coming in hoping that you have an idea what they do, and they're probably thinking the same thing for us. And then you've got to be able to just kind of run your base stuff and still be right where you need to be. So that'll be a challenge. It always is the first game, way more than people realize. But I'm expecting a really tough game from them. Really physical team. They were last year too. We just got the better end last year, but I expect a really good, tough physical game that'll really push our limits, coaching and playing wise both.
And, Coach, here's my very last question. Okay, the media. All we care about is the final score, okay? Fans, all we care about is the final score. And I know that's very, very important, Coach. Are there some things other than the final score and go bound, like, I don't know, young players playing in different positions, older players playing in different positions? I don't even know, Coach. Are there some things other than the final score and all the stuff that goes into go bound that you and your coaches will just be very interested in on Friday night, please, sir?
Yeah, I'll be just interested in just kind of how we play as a team. Just I'd say more as much discipline wise, toughness wise, physical wise. I was really watching that and pushing that at our scrimmage against Union. Is just how physical are we going to play? How tough we're going to play? We really focus on those things as much as probably more than we do any stat, and not I'd say more than the win or loss. We definitely want to win, but just want to play the game the right way, play physical, good, tough football, disciplined football. And if we're doing that, that usually puts us in the ballpark of a win. When we're not, then boy, you're capable of getting beat by anybody. And I think our guys have learned that over the years. So gonna have to play just a good, sound football game. Not worry about stats, not worry about the score exactly. Just play hard football the entire 4 quarters because we know they're going to give us a tough game.
24 years of honest work and fair prices. Matt Schuyler and Jason at Eldora Tire and Alignment have the know-how to keep your vehicle running right this fall. a dealer of hand-cooked tires. That's Eldora Tire and Alignment, Highway 175 East Eldora. Experience you can trust.
My family grew up with Central State Bank. From my first savings account to our first mortgage, growing a business, and planning for retirement, they've been with us through it all. And just like family, they call you by name. Discover what Central State Bank can do for you.
D&B Agrisystems has the grain storage, handling, and conditioning equipment you need. From site planning and design to installation and service, their experienced team is ready to help. Plus, pre-season equipment checks help keep you running smoothly. D&B Agrisystems, ready for harvest, ready to serve you.
Ellsworth Community College is preparing students for success with affordable education and hands-on learning. Whether you're starting your college journey or preparing for a career, Ellsworth Community College is here to help you succeed.
This is Ben Ferris from Ferris Insurance Agency, your local American Family Insurance agent. We offer home, auto, and life insurance through American Family. We serve Iowa Falls, Eldora, and the surrounding counties. Find us across from Hy-Vee in Iowa Falls or on Highway 175 in downtown Eldora.
Greenbelt Bank and Trust.
Offices in Iowa Falls, Ackley, Grundy Center, Eldora, Belmont, and Parkersburg. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Greenbelt Bank and Trust. Small town, big hearts.
Leading the way.
Me at all, whatever you want to do.
Welcome back to State Center as we're getting set for high school football. West Marshall and South Hardin tonight. Andy Jennings, Chuck Carpenter with you, and both these teams coming off impressive seasons, especially South Hardin as they made the state semifinals for the first time in school history last year. Went 10-2, finished the district at 5-1. Lone loss to Grundy Center. They also lost to West Lyon, but they gave West Lyon probably their best game of the year, losing 21-7. West Marshall wound up at 7-3 last season. Started a little slow, losing to South Hardin, but then got on a roll, winning 3 straight. Lost to Pleasantville here. That was a game I did. I think that was homecoming, 28-14. And they finished up the year losing to Underwood in the playoffs. So it was still a good season for West Marshall. Both these teams bring back, South Hardin and West Marshall both lost a lot, especially on the line. South Hardin also lost a lot out on the at some of the skill positions, although they do have Cam Adams back, who rushed for over 1,000 yards, and Casey Williamson, who had over 600 yards receiving. West Marshall has Blake Hart, who rushed for over 1,000 yards and passed for 1,000 yards. So there's some definite star players that will take the field in this matchup. West Marshall does lead the series 5-1, dating back to 2010. And prior to 2016, actually in 4 of the 6 games, West Marshall has shut out South Hardin. They won 56-0 in 10, 61-0, 11, 48-0, 17, and in 13 it was 47-14. So this should be interesting. South Hardin did though win last year, 28-7. We've got Chuck Carpenter standing by with another pregame interview. Here is West Marshall football coach Cody Hackett as we get you set for high school football on Rewind 93 KDAO and Radio on the Go Sports.
Coach, we're getting ready for our big ball game at home with South Hardin on Friday night. Coach, just a lot of things to unpack here. First off, take me back in time when you faced my alma mater, South Tama, in a scrimmage. Okay, was that good for the boys? Was it good for the coaches as far as evaluating players and things like that? Coach, was it good? Did it change practice for this week, sir?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's always nice to go through a couple weeks of practice and then get some pads on and strap it up and go against somebody beside yourself. You kind of figure out things when you're going against yourself. Scout teams figure out what you're doing a little bit because you're doing it every day, and then you get to an opponent who may not know exactly what we're doing, and you finally maybe see some more success maybe than in practice. So I think it's been beneficial for us to have a scrimmage, and then we learn more about ourselves and what things we need to sharpen up and get better at, whether that's offensively or defensively, and just about the evaluation of players and who's stepping up, who's making plays. Do we need to move guys around to different positions to make our team more successful and a better team out there on the field? So overall, I was happy with how it went. They're a tough team, and we really had to strap it up, and we learned a lot about ourselves and what we need to do moving forward.
Now, Coach, you brought up a lot of good points here, and you know me, I never played football a day in my life, so in a best-case scenario, I just assume that coaches know exactly what their players are capable of doing, what position that they're going to fit best in. Sometimes, Coach, and you alluded to this, are those kind of unknowns, even maybe after the first game of the year, still trying to figure out, even if you've seen these guys play football last year and the year before, where do they fit best? Maybe they fit best in a different position. Does that happen a lot, Coach, in football?
I think it probably happens a little bit more than people think. But it's just, we don't, not everybody, we'd move a lot of guys, but just maybe a few here and there to make our team overall better with the 11 on the field, and getting our better players and make sure they're on the field pretty much the whole game. And that's what it takes for us to be successful. Now, it doesn't always happen. Then we move guys around just, depth-wise. It might not be our starters we're moving. It might be our backups that, we don't have a lot of depth here, so we got to have them learn not only the position they were at, but also the other, now a new position, based on the scrimmage and things like that. So just, we're sitting about 40 kids. So, and majority are freshmen and sophomores. So we have, some of the upperclassmen having to learn more than maybe 2 or 3 positions, maybe on defense instead of just one. So we just got to put our guys in the best position, make sure they're playing all those positions just in case something were to happen, injuries, things like that. So, overall, we just, got to be the best 11 guys out there on the field and make sure our backups are ready to go when they get put in.
Do we have good leadership? I remember you telling me it doesn't necessarily have to be juniors and seniors. I'm not sure about freshmen and sophomores, but, is it always interesting how guys who didn't have to lead last year, how they're leading this year, Coach? Has that been a plus or still a work in progress?
I think we got a good overall camaraderie with our team. And, some guys are quiet leading, and they show up by effort. Other guys are a little bit more vocal, and lead that way. So we had some young guys that played last year for varsity that were, a couple were freshmen. So, them coming back as sophomores are, a little bit more mature, a little bit more vocal. And so it's, we got a good group of seniors that lead the way for it. And then we got some juniors and sophomores that step up, and this is a team that we don't have as many numbers, but the camaraderie is really good. They get along with each other, and things like that, and they make practice worthwhile when we're out there. And they're all wanting to get better. They're asking questions, and their goal is to win on Friday night and every Friday night from here on out. So overall, leadership's been really good.
Coach, now this next one maybe kind of falls into that category, not feeling secrets over the radio, but it's always interesting to me because I can never remember from year to year. With your football team, would it be suffice to say, okay, where's the experience? That's a good place to start. And are there a lot of places that, we have some rookies playing for the first time, coaches? Unless you're incredibly lucky and you have a team full of seniors with no question marks, you probably always have a few rookies here and there, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I think we only have 8 seniors this year. So we got, I'd say we got a lot of returners back on the skill side of things. So receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, defensively our back 7. We got a lot of returners there. Now it's just up front, the O-line, D-line in the trenches where, the games are won. So we got some work to do there. But again, they're capable, they're willing, they're asking questions, they want to get better. And that's all you can ask as a coaching staff. And as long as they continue to do that, we'll continue to get better each and every week. So we got some experience. I think we got 13 returning letter winners. But again, it's just, it's crucial up front, and we just got to get them up to pace and them ready to for a whole new speed of a game of varsity, not JV. So, but again, they're wanting to get better, and that's all we can ask.
Well, and Coach, and you've alluded to this before. I've seen you in the last few years pass the ball very well, but with West Marshall football, Coach, how important is it? The line and then the running backs, whoever's involved in it, to be able to run that football first against the Tigers Friday and whoever you play, Coach. Is that important?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think for any team you're going up against, you can't be one-dimensional. So we got to be able to sustain the run, put some drives together, running the football, move the chains, get some first downs, which will then only open up the passing game for us. We're not a team that's going to go out there and throw 50 times a game. We like to, establish a line of scrimmage and run the ball and try to break off and do some passing here and there off of that to, really to get some big explosive plays off of that. So, but our identity is running the football, and, we're going to continue to do that. And we may be a little undersized, but I think we're tough and physical, and, it's 48 minutes of a football game, and whoever is more physical and tougher is normally the team that comes out on top.
Well, you know what, Coach? Next week, after you play a game, and the week after, and the week after, and then when you get into district play, you're going to have film all over the place, and you're going to be able to see what teams do. And to me, this first game was always interesting. So, Coach, do you spend most of your time this week on what the Trojans do? I mean, do we sit around and fret and try to figure out what South Hardin will do, or how do we approach that first game of the year? To me, it's always a little tricky for a coach, but maybe not.
I think a lot of it has to do with the experience you got coming back, the guys you got coming back. Now, this week with us, being young in some different things and places, we're still working on us. We had, normally don't do individual drills and things like that on a Monday, but today we did. Just getting our guys better and better prepared with the fundamentals of technique, alignment, things like that. So if we don't have those things, the rest isn't going to matter. So we're really coaching our guys up on those things, but also still dabbling in some of what South Hardin does and the things that we feel they'll do. It's always week 0, so it's hard to tell. They lost quite a few guys. So what are they going to do? We don't know. So it's kind of a guessing game, and you kind of go back and try to figure out what they've done over the past few years. And I think teams that have a nice tradition and win football games, they want to kind of continue to probably do what they do to be successful. So we just got to try to figure out, guess what they're going to do, and and put our guys in a position that we feel that they're going to do. And at the end of the night, it's either going to work and it may not work, but it's just hard being week 0, not knowing what they're going to do. So we just got to be as best prepared as we can and be as best for our team, technically sound for what we want our guys to do. And again, it's non-district, so you just want to continue to get better and be at your best before district gets here. So I'm excited. It's 2 ranked teams going to battle, and it should be a good one.
Hanson Family Hospital is your home for health care in Hardin County. From convenient family care and specialists close to home to 24/7 emergency care, Hanson Family Hospital is committed to providing compassionate, quality health care for you and your family. Hanson Family Hospital, care close to home.
Gallagher Insurance Risk Management and Consulting is a leading global insurance brokerage and consulting firm. Visit Gallagher at 11 East Church Street in Marshalltown or call 641-752-4618.
Welcome back to State Center as we are just about ready for the opening kickoff here tonight. West Marshall and South Hardin. Let's take a look at the West Marshall offensive starters. West Marshall coached by their head coach, Cody Hackett. Of course, they do have their starting quarterback from last year back as West Marshall takes the field, running through the banner. And Blake Hart had an impressive season as a junior, throwing for 1,345 yards, 11 touchdowns, 8 picks. Rushed for 1,001 yards and 10 touchdowns. Up front for West Marshall will be a little bit different this year. They did have quite a few guys to replace. Bryce Crawford is the left tackle. Damian Ficken will be at the left guard. The center will be, let's see here, number 66. Thought I wrote them all down, but appears I did not.
Well, and you are certainly right, Andy. I think both teams, they have skill people back. You mentioned the Hart boy. I mean, they always have a Hart kid quarterbacking, and their quarterback always seems to be multi-dimensional. But for both teams, and I don't know, Andy, it's kind of the way that is. We're talking to East Marshall, Grundy Center, these teams tonight. Everybody's got skill people back. But it's like there must have been something in the water last year because a lot of people lost their offensive linemen. Well, shoot, I think, and I may be wrong about this, Andy, I think Beckham DeSoto is going to be an offensive lineman this year. He was a tight end. And I think a couple of guys that might even been at skill people, running backs for South Hardin, they're going to be offensive linemen. So it's nice to have skill people. But I just think for both these teams, how their season goes probably depends on how the offensive line goes there, Andrew.
Yeah, it's a game that's won up front. We always know that, and this It's going to be one of those games where it could be a very physical battle between these two teams. Both defenses were very, very good last season, and we are just about ready to get underway. Some of the wide receivers for West Marshall, Drake Whitaker is one of the top guys back. He had 4 catches, 91 yards last year. Tegan Edler, 5 catches, 106 yards. Turner DeRosset, a 5'9 sophomore, now takes over the running back duties. He had just 8 carries for 79 yards and a touchdown. South Hardin defensively, they have some big guys to replace, especially in the middle. Their 2 linebackers led them in tackles last year. They are both gone now, so that will be a position to watch here tonight. But we are ready to get this one underway, as it will be we'll see who's kicking off. I believe it'll be Wilson Buckley.
Then the field looks super, super nice tonight, and it's a beautiful night for high school football. And special teams a part of the game, Andrew. Here we go. Last year we were playing in Eldora at the field house with the pink locker rooms.
It'll be Zoller and Williamson back. Williamson fields at his own 5. He's to the 10, 15, now to the 20, 25, still on his feet across the 30. He's still up across the 40, and he's going to go into West Marshall territory, just shy of it's like right about the 40. Well, they're moving the ball back here. It'll be at the West Marshall 48-yard line, so great field position for South Hardin to start this one.
You never talk about special teams, Andy, unless something goes wrong.
And Braden Weig, the new quarterback for South Hardin. As right behind him is Cam Adams, pistol formation. It'll be a handoff to Adams, and he's smothered in the backfield. And in there on the play was Bryce Crawford.
And, of course, Andy, help me remember, because a lot of the offensive linemen for West Marshall play defensive linemen. And I know they have some of their back 7 back, but along with the offensive line, kind of got to rebuild the defensive line too, I'm kind of thinking there, Andy.
Yeah, definitely. They do have their linebackers back, though, and that's who led them in tackles last year, Kielman and Eldridge, both with 70.
And one of them, I think, was a freshman last year, I think.
Here's a screen pass to Williamson in the flat, makes the catch, works his way up shy of the 41-yard line, gets to about the 42.
We used to run that play with Debo all the time.
And that'll be a pickup of about 8 yards as Weig completes his first pass. Braden Weig taking over for Peyton Welch after Welch threw for over 1,000 yards last year.
Peyton also had that knowledge in his head, didn't he?
Yeah, as a senior, Weig is a junior, but hasn't seen a lot of time because Welch. Here's the quick throw, ball deflected up, and it's intercepted. Edler picks it off, spinning back, still on his feet. Now he'll cut back in, and he's going to work his way across the 40. Now a penalty flag comes out as the pass is intercepted by Tegan Edler.
Did you notice, Andy? He took a real shot, and he got up and kept going and picked up a good extra eight yards. But I think we got a penalty against West Marshall.
Yeah, it will be a block in the back against West Marshall, but the interception will stand as Tegan Edler with the pick. He had 4 of them last year, and he's got 1 right off the bat here, and there's still 10:33 to go in this first quarter. So the first penalty against West Marshall will be a 10-yard penalty, but they will take over at their own 33-yard line after the interception.
Now, Andy, I may be wrong, but I'm kind of thinking West Marshall, very old school. They like to run first. Now, maybe Hart should have come out and start throwing the ball all over the place, but I really think they want to try to run the ball, whether it's a new running back or maybe whether it's Hart.
Here's the pistol formation. It'll be DeRosset off the left side, and he is smothered after maybe a short gain. Looks like no gain on the play. And this one thing for West Marshall, they did lose their top back from last year. Of course, Hart got a lot of the credit as well, but Wyatt Brown, I believe, had a big year. He rushed for almost 1,000 yards.
He was a surprise, Andy. Nobody expected him to do that stuff, and he just made plays.
Eldridge will go in motion. Twins to the right side of the formation. It'll be a handoff to DeRossi. He's hitting the backfield as Cam Adams able to get him down off the defensive end position, and Wes Marshall's going backwards as that'll be dropped all the way back to the 28-yard line. That's a 5-yard loss for DeRossi.
Andy, I don't know this for sure, but when you face somebody like Wes Marshall that likes to run first, what do you say? You want to put him in third and predictable, 3rd and 15, but then if you're the Tigers, you can't lose containment on Hart because, he can pull it down and run. Nan Benson says so.
Now, this is the interesting thing for Wes Marshall, who's going to kind of fill into that Kenneth Gears spot, too. And now we got a false start penalty, so a couple of penalties on Wes Marshall here in the early going, as that'll back it up 5 more yards. And it's going to be 3rd and about 20, which, again, like you said, not where you want to be if you're wanting to run the football. Although Hart does have a good arm. He struggled a bit with interceptions last year, too, throwing 8 of them.
Probably most of them when they were on those 3rd and predictable things.
We'll see how aggressive Wes Marshall is here. Twins to the right, single wide receiver left. It'll be a fake handoff, throwing over the middle. Ball is deflected down as good coverage by Aspen Briggs as he stepped right in front of Edler and knocked it down and will force Wes Marshall to have to punt.
Andy, the first game's always interesting, isn't it? Because there's no film on anybody, and you think you know what they're going to do. So what do you say? Do you say we just have to prepare our defense for anything we face? And then especially in the first game, I'm kind of thinking the defenses just have to adjust as the game goes along,
Yeah, definitely. You got to adjust because sometimes teams come out and run things completely different, and here's another penalty. And this will be another pre-snap penalty, I believe, against Wes Marshall.
Coach Hackett is not abused.
And this is kind of what you see sometimes in this first game. You get some of these discipline penalties, and those pre-snap penalties always frustrating. Now South Hardin looks like they could get really good field position here. And a couple of punt returners back. It'll be Spindler and Williamson. DeSoto's got a good boot. He'll boot this one down the middle of the field. Williamson will let it bounce. He'll field it at 35, gets to the 40. Now he's up to the 45, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds about right there. So both defenses hold on the first possession. Wes Marshall with the interception, and South Hardin gets Wes Marshall to go 3 and out. Again, defense was big for both these teams last year. South Hardin limited 7 of their 12 opponents to single digits. Wes Marshall allowed just 10.6 points per game in their 7 wins. So South Hardin will take over at their own 46.
Last time they passed first, right, Andy?
It'll be wide, tossing it out to Adams. He's got the corner, able to break one tackle, falls across midfield and works his way up to the 48-yard line.
Wes Marshall had a chance to tackle him, Andy, and Wes Marshall's such a good fundamental team. Well, all coaches are like this. I mean, when you have missed tackles, that makes the coaches crazy.
And Adams is definitely a big back. As Cam has gone up from 210 this year. He's now 227. So 6 foot, 227. He's that big back that's very difficult to tackle.
He was very good last year, right, Andy? I think I only did one South Hardin game up there, but I remember he was very, very good.
It'll be Spindler in motion. They'll give to Adams, and DeSoto blows up the play in the backfield. So that'll take that gain almost all the way away. It will be a loss of 4.
Now, Andy, for somebody that covers West Marshall a lot, like sometimes I do, that name DeSoto, that's a familiar name, but the first name is kind of brand new, isn't it, Andy? I think that's maybe the younger of them. Because we all know about Beckham and
well, that is Beckham, actually.
Oh, Beckham, sorry.
That was Beckham. But Asher DeSoto also on the football team.
Right.
Here's wide, back to pass. Fires over the middle. He's got Spindler for a first down. And he's going to be brought down by Eldridge and Edler, but not before he's got the first down to the 43-yard line.
Probably got to give a lot of credit to the wide receiver, Andy. He just kind of seemed to know where to go, and all he cared about let's get in a place where I can get the first down. And then White threw a really nice ball to him.
A 9-yard pickup. Good bounce back for Weig after he threw the interception. Now wide receivers split out to the left, Twins to the right. They'll fake the handoff. Weig rolling out, throwing on the run. He's got Fonts in the flat. Ball is knocked loose. It's a fumble, and it looks like Wes Marshall's got it. So the second turnover of the game.
Number 1.
And the recovery will be made for Wes Marshall. That is Wilson Buckley on the recovery.
Kind of looks like they missed the tackle, but then when the second wave hit him, that's when he coughed it up. So 2 turnovers right away. We've got 6:54 left.
Well, they fumble, and Wes Marshall will take over. And we'll see if they can get something going offensively. Trips to the wide side of the formation.
Hart hasn't pulled it down yet, has he, Andy, to run it?
He is not.
Oh, they're all coming after him.
Fake the handoff, runs up the middle, and he's hit right as he crosses the line of scrimmage. As they're starting at their own 27. Little quarterback read action. And sometimes that's what Wes Marshall likes, to kind of pound on you a little bit and take it down the field. And a physical run. Both these teams have struggled to run the ball thus far, though. We're still very early in this game.
And a few new faces on the offensive line for the teams, I think.
And that's the big thing. And back to pass. Hart's going to look long, looking for Edler, and he overshot him down the left field side, or down the left sideline.
If this were last year, you know who Wes Marshall would be looking for. I completely forgot that they had to, that South Hardin and anybody that plays Wes Marshall, they do not have to account for that weapon that they had last year.
They do not have to deal with Kenneth Gears this year. And he was a very good offensive player for Wes Marshall. And a speedster. So it will be 3rd down and 8. Ball at the 29-yard line. Trips to the right and nearly got South Hardin to jump. And the play clock winding down, and Wes Marshall's going to have to take their first time out. So Wes Marshall will call a timeout. It'll be their first timeout. 6:06 to go in this first quarter. We're scoreless. This is high school football on KDAO and Radio on the Go Sports.
At Hardin County Savings Bank, every time you use your HCSB debit card, local schools benefit. Help support school activities, events, and programs in our communities. Sign up for HCSB Cash for Schools today. J&T Plumbing and Heating is ready to help with your home or business. From plumbing repairs and drain cleaning to heating, furnace, and air conditioning service, J&T Plumbing and Heating, keeping you comfortable year-round.
It'll be 3rd and 8 for Wes Marshall. And there's Coach Hackett. We'll see what he comes up with here.
I know he wasn't happy.
Hasn't done much.
Sorry, I know he wasn't happy to take that delay again, or not. Well, would have been a delay game penalty.
It'll be Fonts and Spindler on the right side. Looks like South Hardin coming with a blitz. Now they're going to back out of it. Hart back to pass. He'll step up. He gets away from one. Now he's going to rally and run straight forward. Lowered his head and got hammered out of bounds. And he will be shy of the first down as he gets it up to the 35. So he got 6, but he needed 8. And he took a big hit there at the end.
I guess at the beginning of the year, when you got a running quarterback, you run him. And then towards the end of the year, sometimes they get a little sore, and that's a little problematic. But beginning of the year, everybody's fresh.
Low snap,
wow.
But DeSoto
Whoa.
drills it all the way back inside the 10. Williamson fields on the bounce, and he's brought down by DeRosset at the 15-yard line. We'll see where he's officially marked. Is excellent punt coverage by Wes Marshall. 5:48 to go in this first quarter. We are scoreless.
Thank you, JC.
South Hardin will take over at their own 16-yard line.
Andy, I've got the superintendent sitting right below me, so I have to be on my best behavior. They put the superintendent by me.
Colby Zoller split out to the near side of the field. Far side is Williamson. It'll be a screen pass, tipped up into the air. It went backwards. Are they going to say a fumble? And it appears they are sitting a fumble.
I swear, I thought on that lateral or whatever it was that he intercepted the thing.
That'll put the ball all the way back at the 1 yard line.
That was Beckham, wasn't it? Yeah, 75, I think.
So that'll be a loss for Williamson.
He was lucky it wasn't tipped and picked and
it was
returned.
Tipped.
Well, I mean, he was.
But they said it was a backwards pass, so that's why it's a fumble.
And that was on Beckham.
And DeSoto got a hand on it.
I thought he intercepted the thing and went in the end zone.
And now dangerous play here for South Hardin, backed up at their own 1 yard line. Adams standing about 5 yards in the end zone, and now the penalty flag for a delay game.
Well, Andrew, I guess you don't want to get too crazy. I guess, what do we say? You just want some maneuver. Now, maybe they'll come out and they'll throw a pass, but I think right now you just want a little maneuvering room, don't you?
Yeah, definitely want to get some room for your punter if that's where you're leading. Now, the one thing you got to be careful if you're Wes Marshall, putting everybody up at the line of scrimmage, and then you break that line of scrimmage and suddenly turn into a 99-yard touchdown run. Should be a long run. So trips to the near side. Single wide receiver to the left. Weig in motion, rolling, throwing across his body. He's got his man. And that's Spindler, I believe, out at about the 10-yard line.
Good pickup. Good tackle. That was a positive for both teams.
Pickup of about 9 yards on the play as Spindler able to make the catch.
4-16 may not get too crazy here, Andrew.
It will be 3rd and 15, just over 4 minutes to go in this first quarter. We're scoreless here in State Center as the players on the bench trying to fire up the crowd. It'll be Fonts and Adams in the backfield. That looked like movement, but it's a long throw for Williamson down the sideline, and he can't haul it in as that ball went right through his hands. Pretty good looking throw by Weig, but instead it's going to be a punt, and Adams is going to be punting from his own end zone.
Thought he had it, maybe just dropped it. Not bad coverage.
It was a pretty good looking throw by Weig. And had a chance.
And Weig is a good athlete. I remember him from some of the baseball games. Well, both these teams, they're all good athletes. They all play the same sports.
So Adams back to punt. He did punt last year 2 times, averaged about 37 yards. His punt goes straight up into the air. It's going to be in a position for a Wes Marshall player potentially to hit it, and now South Hardin trying to throw the Wes Marshall player on the ball.
Coach Hackett's doing some hollering. I wonder if maybe he thought somebody got a little too close to that ball, Andrew.
That was Waylon Mumm, who was maybe a little bit too close to that ball. Usually you have that key word you yell and everybody scrambles, but nobody really scrambled. This will be Wes Marshall's best field position of the night as they take over at the South Hardin 49. Neither offense has really done much. Wes Marshall's gone 3 and out twice. South Hardin has fumbled, thrown an interception, and then gone 3 and out.
And West Marshall's had the penalties, and the Tigers have had those turnovers, right, Andrew, as you said?
Yeah. So it'll be twins to each side of the formation. And Hart's going to run it straight up the middle on the quarterback power. He'll duck down just shy of the 40. They'll give him to about the 41. Pickup of 8 for Hart. With 3:20 to go in this first quarter.
Now, I think that play does not shock and awe South Hardin because they knew that's what Hart could do because they faced him last year, and that's the first time we've seen that, but that's actually kind of a staple play going back to his brother, where the quarterback would just keep it. And they've always had like a really good running back they can hand it off to. Not a lot of passing, usually just a run-first team.
Mom and Buckley to the right, Whitaker and Edler to the left. Hart looking left. He'll throw over the middle. Deep post for Edler. He's got it inside the 10. He's brought down by Briggs at about the, it's like the 7-yard line. And a big gain for West Marshall.
In a hurry, Andrew, 240.
And that'll be Hart off the right side, barreling his way forward. Inside the 5, down to the 4.
Had a big hole to open things up there.
A 3-yard run for Hart. And that'll be second and goal from the 4. That pass play, 34 yards to Edler. Looked like a double move. And then, as you said, went with the hurry up. So it'll be Whitaker and Edler again to the right, Mum and Buckley to the left. DeRosset next to Hart. They'll get the carry. Nope, Hart will keep it, and he's hitting the backfield and dropped. There's a big rush coming through for South Hardin. That was Cash Gills who came up with the stop. They had both plays of that stop, though, as Adams took out the running back. Gills took out the quarterback. And now it is 3rd and goal. We saw Buckley warming up. He's got a pretty good leg. If West Marshall does have to settle for a field goal, obviously they'd like a touchdown, though. It'll be Hart in the shotgun. DeRosset next to him. Twins to the left and right. 3 on the play clock. Back to pass. Looking to his left. Throws. It's high for Whitaker. And that'll bring up 4th down.
Just some new faces out there as far as the wideouts. I'm kind of used to DeSoto being tight end, but I guess he's not the tight end this year. So,
and West Marshall will attempt the field goal. So the left-footed kicker Buckley on to attempt the field goal. He did make some field goals last year. And there's some confusion as Hart, the holder, and they're running DeRosset on late, and now a penalty flag comes out.
You saw that flag. They threw that flag from Clemens.
Was that 11 or 12 when he ran out onto the field?
And they still had 11 seconds on the play clock there, Andy. But
they snapped it, though.
Yeah.
And illegal substitution. So West Marshall struggling with penalties. South Hardin struggling a bit with turnovers. And now they're going to back them up 5 yards. They'll have to kick it again. So it'll be a little further this time. It will be about a 27, 28-yard field goal here. In the minute 15, snap is low, kick is up, and the kick is no good. So Buckley misses the 27-yard field goal. And we stay scoreless.
You know, Andy, I don't know anything about the game, but one of the real key plays, right after they completed that long pass, remember they went with the hurry-up offense, and I know they were trying to, beat South Hardin to the punch and try to have Hart walking in the end zone, but they did stop him, and then that was followed by another good defensive play. So
South Hardin will take over at their own 20. And the run games have been kind of handled here thus far. Weig will get it to Adams off the left side, pushing forward. He's had trouble getting anything going tonight as well. He was able to get 4 yards that time, though. And he's had just 4 yards rushing on 4 carries. So both defenses probably are enjoying this first quarter. Both offenses not so much.
Well, like I said, sometimes defense is ahead of the offense.
usually it's always ahead of the offense to start the season. Weig throws quick to the flat. Making the catch over there is going to be Spindler. And he's able to pick up some yardage to about the 29.
Well, and usually, Andy, you install all your offense early, but then the defense you continue to install because you continue to get different looks. And we only got 9 seconds left here, so.
It'll be 3rd and 1. We'll see if South Hardin will just let the clock run out. Looks like they will. And we are scoreless at the end of one quarter. South Hardin and West Marshall scoreless. This is high school football on Rewind 93 KDAO and Radio on the Go Sports. We will step away, come back with the second quarter as we're scoreless on KDAO.
When your air conditioner, furnace, or plumbing fails, call Lon's Plumbing and Heating. For over 30 years, Lon's Plumbing and Heating in Rhinebeck has handled all your plumbing, air conditioning, and heating needs. Lon's Plumbing and Heating, your trusted local experts for more than 30 years.
Did you know Partner Communications offers electrical services? From changing lights to wiring a new home, we can help. We have free estimates. You can call Partner today at 641-498-7701. High-speed internet shouldn't stop at the city limits. That's why RTU has expanded reliable internet service across rural Grundy and Tama counties with Traer coming soon. Main Street, not Wall Street. Learn more at Rhinebeck.net.
API has you covered, literally. Top quality shingles, metal, rubber, and flat roofs, roofing and siding for home, farm, and business. See the API local showroom on Highway 175 East in Eldora. Free professional inspections and estimates. API roofing, siding, and gutters.
Colotel Fiber is connecting Iowa communities to the future. Enjoy reliable fiber internet with managed Wi-Fi, unlimited use, and no data caps. Colotel Fiber, fast, reliable, and local.
As we go into the second quarter, South Hardin facing 3rd and 1. It'll be Weig with Fonts and Adams in the backfield. Zoller to his left, Twins to his right, Williamson and Spindler, and West Marshall almost jumped. It'll be Adams, and he's able to force his way forward. He's got enough for a first down as he got it up to the 31, maybe the 32. 3-yard pickup for Adams. And that might be the first down other than the West Marshall deep pass that we've seen. South Hardin get a first down on their possessions? Well, they did get a first down, but then they threw the interception.
The interception, yes.
So it'll be 1st and 10, ball at their own 32. Weig fakes the handoff, rolls to his right, still looking, running out of time, and he'll fire this one to the sideline. Smart play by Weig.
22 came after him.
As DeRossa was coming on the rush.
Andrew, help me because I don't have a roster, but DeRossa, is he a sophomore this year? Because last year I remember he got thrust into the starting role, and it's just like any level, you got to be dang good to be a starting varsity linebacker as a freshman. So, and he was. They have a great tradition of linebackers, Hanford, all those guys.
Yeah, definitely have some good linebackers. 2nd and 10. It'll be a fake handoff. Weig looking deep. He's got Williamson, and he's drilled by Edler. Ball comes out, and Williamson a little slow to get up, but he'll pop back up, and it'll be 3rd down.
See, that's the thing, and I know that West Marshall can say the same thing about South Hardin, but when you play West Marshall, they're going to be one of the more physical football teams that you ever play, and not dirty plays. It's just that usually they're good tacklers, and they're physical. I mean, this is just a great test for both teams here tonight.
It'll be 3rd and 10, ball at their own 32. It's a time where you got to see Weig step up and make a big throw, although he's been pretty much on target since that interception. He's back to pass, blitz off the corner. It'll be a catch in the middle, just shy. Will depend on the mark.
I think he's setting at it.
Yeah, looks like he's got it. And that's Williamson after he took that big hit. He gets back up and catches one right at the 42-yard line for a first down.
The new quarterback doing a good job. Doesn't look like he's much of a runner, Andrew. Now, maybe we're still very young in the season, but just kind of looks like he likes to pass first.
Yeah, it looks like more of the pocket passer. And they'll have Adams be the runner. Welch ran it a little bit last year. And here's the handoff to Adams. Just cannot get going. Those linebackers playing downhill so much that he just has no chance. Eldridge, Kielman, even Edler in the backfield that time. It was a 1-yard gain.
And, of course, you got Big 75 right there. I mean, Beckham's still a defensive lineman.
With 9:54 to go in this second quarter. A bunch set to the right, single wide receiver left, pistol formation. It'll be a toss to Adams, trying to get the corner, able to make one man miss. Penalty flag flies in the backfield, though, and he's able to run his way towards the first down, but I believe this is coming back on a hold. And that's going to be the call. So holding against South Hardin.
Second penalty, right, Andy? They had that one at the goal line, and then this one. So penalties are about even. It's just South Hardin's had a couple of turnovers. Scoreless game, 9:39.
Yeah, West Marshall 4 penalties, South Hardin 2, which you're not too surprised by, but when good teams make penalties early on, that can be a little bit surprising sometimes.
And Andy, help me. South Hardin have they been in West Marshall territory a whole lot tonight? I'm not sure if they have been.
Well, they started in West Marshall territory. They got there
right,
a couple
the punt,
times.
That's right, the kick return.
But then the fumble and the interception. So they've had some chances, but just haven't been able to capitalize. Wide back to pass. He'll step up, fires down the right side. He's got a man wide open, and he just missed him. Is running free for South Hardin was Grant Meester. And if he caught that, it was going to be 6. Instead, that'll bring up 3rd and 19.
And, of course, new quarterback, new wide receivers, timing, everything's different. West Marshall wants to try to keep everybody in front of them. They'll give up 5-10 yards.
And Weig in the pistol. It'll be a draw play to Adams, and he's hit by 2 West Marshall defenders in the backfield.
You know who one of them was.
Nowhere to go. DeSoto was in there as well. Is 79, that's Ficken. And neither team having much success running the football in this first half. Adams with just 7 yards rushing on 7 carries. And now he'll have to punt it away. Here's the punt by Adams, high into the air, back to receive. DeRoss at a late catch, and the ball came out as he muffed it, but right there to get on top of it is Whitaker to avoid a disaster for West Marshall. As DeRoss had a late fair catch call. And then he muffed it, but was able to get back on it.
Well, I'm sure if West Marshall had their way, Andrew, what we got, 8:44 left here. I mean, I know they wouldn't poo-poo a long touchdown run or pass, but maybe they would like to just burn the clock and get some points, and then I forgot who gets the ball at halftime in the third quarter.
At the end of one quarter, it is AP leading Grundy Center 14-7. So a little bit of a surprise there. Here's the handoff to DeRosset. He's going to be wrapped up by Fonts and pushed backwards. There's neither offensive line, neither run game really finding much traction here.
Is DeRossa the new running back from last year, Andrew? I did all their games, but I can't remember.
Well, remember Brown was the running back
Right.
year.
Then before that, they had a couple of Gonzalez's, I thought.
And they had another Gonzalez, but wasn't on the roster, so I don't know. It'll be 2nd and 11. As both defenses dominating here. Under 8 minutes to go in this first half. It'll be a fake handoff, hard on the keeper, and he is shut down after a minimal gain. Maybe got back to the original line of scrimmage. Hart's got 19 yards rushing and 34 yards passing, but he's only 1 of 4 passing.
And South Hardin loves this, man. 3rd and predictable, 3rd and 10. Not saying the West Marshall can't pass, but like I said, that's what they want to try to do. Put West Marshall in 3rd and long, but then they can't lose containment on Hart.
And they've done a good job keeping Hart pinned in, as you said.
And then taking away the running back.
We'll see. I would think maybe Edler's the guy that West Marshall looked to. Edler, Whitaker, kind of the experienced guys. Here's Hart off the snap. He's in trouble, and he's sacked all the way back at the 29-yard line. As Logan Colby able to run him down and make the sack at the 30. First sack of the game for South Hardin.
Third and predictable, and they came with fire.
And you saw Adams get a hand on him too as he rolled out. I thought he was going to be able to get the corner, but then just run down by Colby. Great hustle by the junior defensive lineman. Now an opportunity here for South Hardin. See if they come after this punt. DeSoto, good punter. Be Spindler and Williamson back. It's a high punt into the air. Williamson at the 35. He's going to run to his right. Gets a block to the 40. Now to the 45. He's going to be brought down just shy of midfield, maybe right at midfield.
Andy, you have the roster. Who's 19? Because he certainly threw a nice block right there. We got the camera on him. If you're watching this online, nice block.
Aspen Briggs for South Hardin.
I mean, you see the fans. So South Hardin's traveled well.
South Hardin will take over at midfield with 6.5 minutes to go in this first half. It's been kind of a stalemate thus far, not completely surprising. As Weig will be in the pistol. It'll be a toss to Adams, trying to get outside. He cuts inside and runs into a host of West Marshall defenders. As DeRossett, Edler, Eldridge, Kielman, they're all there.
DeRossett was right there, and then the cavalry arrived, and just good gang tackling, just kind of overwhelming the offensive line.
It feels like those linebackers do not respect Weig's ability to pass just by where they're playing, and that might be why we've seen South Hardin have some one-on-one opportunities down the field. They're going to have to hit one of those, or those linebackers are going to still charge that line of scrimmage every time Adams gets a touch. They've got to open things up a bit to give Adams some more room. Weig will fake the handoff, rolls to his right. He's looking deep. He's got a man behind. Zoller is there. He's got it. Touchdown.
Didn't overthrow him that time. Just one-on-one coverage.
Colby Zoller with the catch and a 50-yard touchdown pass from Weig to Zoller. And South Hardin grabs the lead at 6-0.
And, Andy, I know we're very, very early, okay, but already South Hardin likes the fact they're on top because you take a team that doesn't pass the ball much and try to make them play catch-up, even though there's still plenty of time. That's what they like to have.
There's Weig with a strike down the right side. He did throw one touchdown pass last year, but we thought they'd have some one-on-one opportunities the way those linebackers were flowing. Here's Spindler's extra point. That looks like he missed it, and he did. South Hardin on the board first. They take a 6-0 lead, a 50-yard touchdown pass from Braden Weig to Colby Zoller, and the Tigers grab the lead, 6-0. This is Rewind 93 and Radio On The Go Sports.
Cooley Pumping and Sanitation is family owned and offers septic pumping, drain cleaning, portable restrooms, inspections, dumpsters, and roll-offs. Cooley Pumping and Sanitation, experienced, dependable, and ready to help.
The Eldora Hy-Vee store offers large town variety with small town friendliness. Find everything you need from fresh produce and quality meats to bakery favorites and everyday essentials. The Eldora Hy-Vee store, big selection, hometown service.
Brandon Weig with a 50-yard touchdown pass has given South Hardin a 6-0 lead after the missed extra point. West Marshall hasn't been able to do too much on offense, but that play there for South Hardin probably matches, well, it doesn't match. They had just 20 total yards in the first quarter. It goes flying by everything they've done to this point. And that's what they had to do with the way the defense was pressuring for West Marshall.
And maybe that'll open up the run game, because I know South Hardin really wants to be balanced, and I wouldn't anticipate West Marshall to change anything.
Here's Whitaker fielding at the 10 to the 20. Stays in bounds, rolling up the sideline, and he's going to be...
Don't know how he did it.
Hit out of bounds. We'll see where they mark him.
Well, so far, Andrew, West Marshall, they want to run first, and I'm sure maybe they'll still probably do that. No time to panic. Still got 5:37, but they don't want to get down by a couple of scores to this team like in the second half.
5:37 to go in this first half. 6-0, West Marshall trailing South Hardin. And the Trojans taking over on offense. Other than the pass to Edler, which went 34 yards, it's been tough to get any offense going. DeRossett, a little hesitation, and he's going to be brought down behind the line of scrimmage.
Stumbled, too.
As Williamson and Gills again, just nowhere to go for West Marshall right now. And I feel like probably both coaches had this fear that maybe their lines wouldn't be able to control the line of scrimmage like they did a lot last year.
Well, and like I said, West Marshall's working their way towards that third and long thing again, which is exactly what the Tigers want to put him in.
Be 2nd and 15. Hartback to pass. Going to take off on the draw and just nothing there. He might have got a couple yards back as he gets it up to about the 30. Yeah, maybe the 29. So they'll give him a couple.
And like I said, you don't have him from last year. Their main man last year. And, of course, Beckham is not a wide receiver or tight end anymore. They've always had a good tradition of tall tight ends, AJD, Beckham. And once again, and they can't tell you how many times people get tired of hearing it, but it's like 3rd and 13 for a team that runs first. And, of course, sometimes their hope is to get Hart in the open, but the Tigers have been very well disciplined, and they haven't missed many tackles, man.
It'll be Edler, Whitaker. Here's the deep throw down the side, and Briggs goes up and intercepts it at about the 40-yard line, trying to go one-on-one with Edler, and Briggs able to make the interception.
And, hindsight's 20/20, but if you were watching this online, you saw 8 at the bottom of your TV screen, and he was wide open for a nice little pass, and I think Hart saw him, but I think he loaded up and went for the home run ball.
I think they were trying to get Edler's 6'2" frame against Briggs, who goes... Oh, geez, where did the right lineup go here? Briggs goes 5'10", so you're trying to go with the 6'2" versus 5'10" matchup. Well, this time the 5'10" wins it as Briggs the interception. Now Weig back to pass, looking deep again. He's got a man wide open, making the catch and getting a block, and he's gone. That's a touchdown.
So, Andy, what do we say? A busted play or a good play by the Tigers, or maybe a little bit of all the above?
Running wide open for the touchdown. And South Hardin grabs the 12-0 lead. The touchdown pass. Number 24, that is Regan Eady. And a long pass and started their own 38. 62-yard touchdown as Spindler's extra point is no good. It might have been blocked. But the long touchdown pass, 62 yards to Eady.
Well, and Andy, when I did those interviews with Coach Eller and Coach Hackett, Coach Hackett of West Marshall made no bones about it. He says, Chuck, we're going to run first. And Coach Eller says, Chuck, I think we can both run and pass. And they had a new quarterback, but Wyke certainly has a good arm. And help me, Andy, he missed the one long throw, and now he's made connections with his receivers on the last two touchdown passes.
Yes, last two completions, 50 and 62. As South Hardin grabs a 12-0 lead. This is Radio on the Go Sports.
Farm Bureau Financial Services offers customized coverage for your farm, machinery, livestock, and more. All in one policy, one premium, and one deductible. Contact Farm Bureau agent Kyle Blom or sales associate Justin Teesing in Rhinebeck.
GNB Bank is a proud supporter of Grundy Center and surrounding communities. Count on your hometown team at GNB Bank for protection and all your customized banking needs. GNB Bank is there when you need them. GNB Bank, member FDIC, banking you can count on.
South Hardin with a 12-0 lead, 3:48 to go in this first half. As things switching with Wyke connecting for a couple of touchdown passes.
Tigers don't want to give up a cheap one here,
And now a big hole for Whitaker right up the middle. He came firing out up to close to the 40-yard line.
Tigers love this because they have a team that wants to run first and actually has not been too successful running the ball. And they haven't had much success passing the ball either, and they've got them down by 2 scores. Still a lot of time left, but when you have a team that's a run-first team and you have them down by 2 scores, that's a good situation. Of course, if you are ahead like the Tigers are, then you probably got to try to run the ball a little bit in the second half to protect the lead.
3:40 to go in this first half. 12-0, South Hardin. One good thing for West Marshall is South Hardin has missed the extra point both times. We'll see if West Marshall might try to pass to open up the run. It'll be hard, straight run up the middle, and they're just nothing going.
That's kind of their bread and butter play. I mean, it really is, Andy, over the last couple of years, the quarterback, and teams kind of know that. See, last year when Hart was brand new, he kind of fooled a lot of people, and they kind of caught on as the year went along. And, of course, the other thing with West Marshall at 3:22, they'd love to get a score because I'm pretty sure they get the ball to start third quarter, I think.
They do. Cash Gills is having a huge game for South Hardin. He's continuing to wreck some things. Here's the throw, and it's intercepted. Williamson steps in front of Edler and picks it off, and South Hardin set up at the West Marshall 42-yard line. Second interception thrown by Hart. And this one, Williamson just read it beautifully and stepped in front of Edler. And South Hardin in business.
Maybe Hart didn't see him, but as you mentioned, that's high football IQ for number 5. And now, I mean, West Marshall, they really can't afford to give up any more points. And if nothing else, I'm sure South Hardin would say, let's just keep the ball. If we don't score, don't give it back to them.
I think South Hardin probably going to be taking another long shot with the way they're running it down there, and now Adams takes a shot as he jumped up into the air, and Eldridge met him.
But the difference is, Andy, is that I think South Hardin has been able to convert on second and long, third and longs with their passing game, and West Marshall just simply has not been able to.
Yeah, that's the big difference right now is the passing game. South Hardin has 153 yards passing and -8 yards rushing. And West Marshall's got 34 yards passing and 5 yards rushing. 2:20 to go in this first half. Quick fake, throws to Zoller on the hook. He makes the catch for a first down up across the 30-yard line.
Not the first time we've seen the Tiger receivers do a really nice job running routes and then just setting in the middle. And what do you call that, Andy? Giving what the defense gives you. Taking what the defense gives you.
Yeah.
Just moving the chains. Keeping it away from West Marshall. Burning the clock. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
12-yard pickup. There's just under 2 minutes to go in this first half. West Marshall still with 2 timeouts. South Hardin with 3. It'll be Adams right side, able to run through a tackle and get downhill for the first time as he takes it inside the 20, down to about the 19-yard line.
Unusual missed tackle by West Marshall, but that's okay with South Hardin. And like I said, 135. Maybe not now, Andy, but after maybe this play, if they don't do it, maybe they have to take some shots into the end zone.
And plenty of time right now. You got over a minute 20.
All your timeouts left, I think.
All 3 timeouts.
We've only had 1 timeout tonight.
Here's Adams up the middle again as he'll work his way up close to the 15-yard line. As Crawford there to make the stop. A pickup of about 4 yards.
He's hurt.
And slow to
now he gets up.
Crawford. The one thing with Adams is,
well, he's a load.
You'll continue to feed him the ball, even especially into the second half, and that's when he can be at his best, when defenses get a little tired. Weig looking to throw, fires towards the sideline. Briggs goes up and catches it, breaks a tackle, and is brought down at the 1-yard line.
Take a timeout, Andy. 39 seconds.
Yep, looks like they will. As South Hardin will take the timeout.
He threw that into a tight pocket, didn't he, Andy?
Definitely a tight window, and Briggs
whatever.
able to go up and get it.
Pocket window, whatever.
Briggs able to make the catch. And South Hardin has shown off some of these new wide receivers, and Briggs.
And new quarterback.
Already has an interception. Yeah, new quarterback as well. Weig has got him unofficially 8 of 13, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. Of course, that 1 interception.
Should we also give a shout out to their offensive line? Because there's been a couple times West Marshall's gotten to him, but for the most part, he's had pretty decent pocket, pretty quick release. So maybe their offensive line is just, they're young, but they're getting better here in this first half.
They have definitely given him a lot of time to throw. They haven't run the ball very well, but pass protection has been very good for South Hardin tonight. Just 39 seconds before halftime. This game was scoreless until about the 6-minute mark. And that's when South Hardin struck for the 1 touchdown. Then the next drive struck for another touchdown. And now here they are on the doorstep of their 3rd touchdown to try and make this a 3-possession game potentially. And it'll be Adams and Fonts in the backfield. Williamson and Spindler to the right. And it will be Adams to the right, and he'll walk into the end zone for the touchdown.
Just jumped over somebody. Now you're up by 3 scores in the 3rd quarter. We may see them run the ball. Well, actually, we may see them just continue what they do. Sometimes when you start playing conservative, you get in trouble.
A 1-yard touchdown run for Adams. And it is 18-0, South Hardin. And it looks like they're going to go for 2. They've struggled a bit with the extra point. And they might go for 2 here. And Coach Eller wants to call a timeout before they go for 2 potentially. So 2nd timeout called by South Hardin. And they are lining up to go for 2 with just 36 seconds to go in this first half. As Adams gets his first touchdown of the season, had 14 rushing touchdowns last year and rushed for 1,283 yards. And South Hardin really has controlled this 2nd quarter. They were scoreless after 1. Right now in the 2nd quarter, they're 18-0. It's really been the passing game, although.
Well, and Andy, in a situation like this, a lot of the times when you're going to run a play like this, sometimes you have a quarterback that'll run it in. But I don't know if Weig will do that. That may be an option. Maybe just the running back. So, because sometimes you say, well, the quarterback can take it in or the running back.
Definitely. Maybe some type of quick hitter on the outside, like a pick play or something to open somebody up. South Hardin lining up to go for two. Weig will bring Williamson in motion. He'll go across the formation. Now he'll roll to his right, throws for Williamson. He's got him, and the two is successful.
Might have been a pick there, legal pick, of course, but he threw a nice ball. And I've been saying, Weig doesn't run, but he's pretty mobile in the pocket, isn't he, Andy? He runs around and he sprints out and may not run for a whole bunch of yardage, but pretty mobile, good footwork, I think.
20-0, South Hardin leading West Marshall. Just 36 seconds to go in the first half. This is Radio on the Go Sports.
In Ziering, McCallsburg, St. Anthony, Clemens, and the surrounding areas, Minerva Valley Companies is your local provider for high-speed fiber internet, telephone service, and digital video TV.
South Hardin grabbing a 20-0 lead. Remember, they beat West Marshall last year 28-7. And it was kind of some similar things. They hit some long passes. And South Hardin has been able to get West Marshall again with those long passes. And not to say that was a thing for the West Marshall defense last year, but at times they struggled to stop the deep passes. And that has been the case again here tonight to open the season.
And just solid defense by South Hardin. They've taken away the run. I don't want to say they don't respect the pass, but they made West Marshall 3rd and long because they've been able to stop the run. And the longest run maybe has been 7 yards by Hart, maybe on a keeper. Not much from the running backs.
Yeah, there's been really nothing from either running back. I had Hart one run of 8 yards, so pretty close. Here's a squib kick. Going to get to the return man, Whitaker, and he's going to be brought down at about the 35-yard line, and they'll mark him officially at the 36. And now with 30 seconds, West Marshall has 2 timeouts remaining. Do you try anything here, or are you feeling like you could potentially have even something worse happen?
When you get the ball back to start third quarter, I don't know if you want to get too crazy. Of course, you can't have any turnovers.
And they've thrown interceptions on back-to-back plays, so
might play it safe and just let Hart run the ball. But what do I know?
Possessions. And it'll be DeRosset, and Font's able to get them in the backfield, and he's going to be brought down. I mean, when the defensive end is getting through barely touched, that's a problem. And looks like West Marshall's going to let the clock run out. That'll be no gain for DeRosset. As South Hardin with a dominant second quarter as they lead West Marshall 20-0 here at halftime. We'll see what type of adjustments both teams will come up with in the locker room. 20-0 is our halftime score. And South Hardin on top of West Marshall here at halftime. We will take a break, then come back with our halftime show. This is high school football on Rewind 93 KDAO and the Radio on the Go YouTube.
Napa Farmers Feed and Supply in Rhinebeck is your local source for auto repair, tire repair, oil changes, and on-the-farm tire service. Call 319-788-2000. RTU doesn't just serve Rhinebeck. We've brought high-speed internet to rural Grundy and Tama counties, and we're soon going to be in Traer. Your hometown provider, growing with the community. RTU. Learn more at Rhinebeck.net.
Show your school pride every time you shop with the People's Savings Bank School Pride Debit Card. Choose from AGWSR, Dike New Hartford, or Gladbrook Rhinebeck. Every swipe helps support your local schools. Stop by any PSB location and get yours today. Member FDIC.
We're at halftime. Here is our halftime show. A couple of interviews for you coming up on our halftime show. 20-0, South Hardin. Welcome to our Radio on the Go Sports halftime show. Tonight on the halftime show, we've got an interview with Grundy Center volleyball coach Lori Willis and Colonesco volleyball coach Riley Purvis. So let's get right to those interviews and get you back to your football game.
You got the wins last night, and of course in the world of the media and the fans, sometimes that's all we care about are the wins. And I know those are very important. It looks like Waverly Charlotte pushed you a little bit, but Coach, okay, even if you have a lot of experience like I think you do this year, were there still some things you were looking for and some things that pleased you beyond the final scores last night, Coach? The scores were important. Were there some things you and your coaches were focused on last night?
Well, first and foremost, we are just working on our first contacts, our pass and serve. And for the most part, we served really well. Passing is definitely an area where we need to improve in our serve receive. But, obviously we did well enough to get it to our outsides, and they were able to put that ball away. But I would like to we're really heavy loaded in our offense. And so we want to make sure that we're getting that ball to the net so that we can have all hitters firing. We're focusing on our block and defense. And last night we were really super scrappy, which was fantastic. And then that's Waverly was too. It was really hard to get a ball down. You thought it was down, and all of a sudden they're bringing it right back. So that was a really fun match because we had a lot of long rallies. So I was glad to see that we were in shape enough to handle those long rallies as well.
Now, Coach, I understand you only have a couple of days of practice. It's always interesting to me, and you kind of alluded to a lot of things there. After you've seen the girls play, a couple of times, does practice change now? I mean, do you go back on Thursday and Friday and work on anything in particular from the other night as you get ready for the Saturday thing, please, Coach, if that makes sense?
Yeah, we're still going to hit our serve receive pretty hard, and then also just some setter-hitter connections to make sure that we're working on that, and a little different traffic patterns that we still need to kind of iron out as well. And then just, getting just a lot of reps and touches and just making sure that we're getting better every day.
Coach, you mentioned top heavy as far as the offense. Does that mean balance, Coach? I mean, do we just have more than one or two girls out there, please, Coach?
Yeah, no, we are very, very balanced. Last year we had to rely on Ryan a lot. But this year we are very balanced, and anybody can put the ball away, and we have a lot of firepower. It's just we have a lot of really strong offensive girls.
Coach, could you take me behind the scenes a little bit? You talked about that defense and scrappy. You hear coaches say that a lot. And I don't know, Coach, in the world of volleyball, the keys to being a good defensive team, I don't know if it's plays, I don't know if it's communication or scrappiness. Are there just a lot of little things that basically come from the girls, from effort, starting with effort to be a good defensive team, Coach, whether it's blocking or digging, please, Coach?
Yeah, well, I truly believe that every defense starts with a block because they're the first line of defense. So we need to make sure that we put up a solid block, and then our defenders need to make sure that they're outside a block, not hiding behind the block, and our feet stopped. That is the basics of defense. Obviously, you want to be in the correct position, which we're kind of have to tweak and adjust a little bit there. And then it's all about pursuing the ball, getting your nose in there, pursuing that ball, and getting it up.
Coach, finally, may I ask you a question that really has nothing to do with stats and things like that? And as you mentioned, you have an experienced team. So does that mean, Coach, that the chemistry, like right away, is good? The chemistry, the communication, is that something that can always get better? They say that's super important in volleyball. Because of experience, Coach, do we have pretty good chemistry already on the court or not?
We do have great chemistry on the court. One thing that I saw last night is we're playing pretty free. And when you play free, that means you're in a good spot. You are connected with your teammates, and you're trusting your teammates to do their job so that you can do your job and you don't have to overwork or do anything. They enjoy each other a lot. We work heavy on that chemistry because the sweet spot is making sure that we have high connection and then high accountability.
Okay, Lori, listen,
First game of the year for you guys and see how the girls played.
Yeah, first game of the year, definitely we had to make some adjustments. We had some stuff come within the first week of practice, so there are definitely girls playing positions they never would have expected, but honestly, they looked great tonight. They looked confident, they looked comfortable. They were just running all around the court, making big plays that we sometimes didn't make last year. And the biggest thing is them coming together after having the other team is going on like a scoring run, and we finally have dug ourselves out of holes that we could have done last year. And there's a lot of growth this year that I've seen from them, especially in this first game from last season to this season.
Then it sounded like there was a lot more communication on the court. I could hear the girls talking a lot.
Yeah, that is one of my biggest things this season. I told them last year, I said, you guys talk all the time when we're in the van. I said, then you get here and you're quiet. I said, I know you guys can talk. I said, I know you love talking. So yeah, that's been our biggest thing. I'm like, if I can hear myself over you in practice, that's one of our biggest things is like, you guys aren't loud enough. We play really loud music. I'm like, if I can hear the song over you. So we found different ways where they can really be loud and communicate. And that was one of the big things I wanted them to grow is noticing where's the setter setting it? Is it a tip? All of that stuff, kind of really growing that IQ from last season. My first year coming in, having to plan everything in a month I'm actually able to prepare and kind of find those goals from last season that I really want to focus on this season for the girls, and they've done an amazing job.
Did Peyton maybe surprise you a little bit with some of their height? I mean, some of those girls, were they surprising?
They definitely did. I heard they had a bunch of girls come in. 3 of them were transfer ins. They didn't have them last season, and yeah, a lot of the girls looked at me and they were like, man, they're really tall. And I said, just because they're tall, it doesn't matter. I said, we're small, but we're scrappy. I said, you guys hustle. You guys put your hearts out there every time you play. I said, just because they're tall doesn't mean they're better than you. And I really do think the girls show that they can hang in, even though we're not the tallest team you may see, but we're pretty scrappy.
It always seemed like you kind of got within 1 point and then they'd go on a little bit of a run.
And I think it was huge for the girls to realize that was kind of our biggest downfall last season is I think we would go on some of those runs and then the other team would, and we kind of would get down and defeated and we couldn't figure out a way to get out of that. And again, like the girls had come together so well, and all of these runs, I told them, I said, you guys could have done this last year. And I said, don't know what happened, but this year, like you guys are really coming together. You're really figuring things out as a team, and just you're stepping up in big moments, and you can do it is my biggest thing that I tell them this year.
And do you want to maybe see them attack more on offense, or you kind of play a lot of defense?
Yeah, I would love to see some more attacks, but obviously we have girls that are playing positions that they really have never played before, other than our 2 middles and then our 1 outside, Landry Harris. But other than that, our other 2, Julie and Veda, like Julie was our libero last year. Veda's a freshman, kind of getting them comfortable in those positions because they have made very huge plays for us. And then Hope, obviously, being our setter, love to see her attack more, but she does set it up really well for our hitters. So.
And then as you go into a big tournament on Saturday.
Yes, we do. I'm really excited. This is a good start for us to go into Saturday. Playing some pretty good competition up there. All of the girls are not excited about the drive, but it'll be a good competition for us. And I always say when we go to these tournaments and we play some of these schools that we don't see, we do see, I'm like, it's always better, 1, we get to work on stuff, and 2, it keeps practices fun and interesting because we can see what we need to improve more on.
That was Colonesco volleyball coach Riley Purvis. We do have some high school volleyball tournaments coming up for you tomorrow. Here's where our area teams will be going. South Hardin will be at the Humboldt tournament. East Marshall GMG will go to Colfax Mingo. Dyke New Hartford's at Ankeny Centennial. AP will go to Fort Dodge St. Edmund. And Colonesco will travel to West Central. That will wrap up our halftime show. We'll get you back out to your game shortly. This is Radio on the Go Sports.
24 years of honest work and fair prices. Matt Schuyler and Jason at Eldora Tire and Alignment have the know-how to keep your vehicle running right this fall. A dealer of hand-cooked tires. That's Eldora Tire and Alignment. Highway 175 East Eldora. Experience you can trust.
My family grew up with Central State Bank. From my first savings account to our first mortgage, growing a business, and planning for retirement. They've been with us through it all. And just like family, they call you by name. Discover what Central State Bank can do for you.
D&B Agrisystems has the grain storage, handling, and conditioning equipment you need. From site planning and design to installation and service, their experienced team is ready to help. Plus, pre-season equipment checks help keep you running smoothly. D&B Agrisystems, ready for harvest, ready to serve you.
Ellsworth Community College is preparing students for success with affordable education and hands-on learning. Whether you're starting your college journey or preparing for a career, Ellsworth Community College is here to help you succeed.
This is Ben Ferris from Ferris Insurance Agency, your local American Family Insurance agent. We offer home, auto, and life insurance through American Family. We serve Iowa Falls, Eldora, and the surrounding counties. Find us across from Hy-Vee in Iowa Falls or on Highway 175 in downtown Eldora.
Greenbelt Bank and Trust.
Offices in Iowa Falls, Ackley, Grundy Center, Eldora, Belmont, and Parkersburg. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Greenbelt Bank and Trust. Small town, big hearts.
Leading the way.
Hanson Family Hospital is your home for healthcare in Hardin County. From convenient family care and specialists close to home to 24/7 emergency care, Hanson Family Hospital is committed to providing compassionate, quality healthcare for you and your family. Hanson Family Hospital, care close to home.
Gallagher Insurance Risk Management and Consulting is a leading global insurance brokerage and consulting firm. Visit Gallagher at 11 East Church Street in Marshalltown or call 641-752-4618. At Hardin County Savings Bank, every time you use your HCSB debit card, local schools benefit. Help support school activities, events, and programs in our communities. Sign up for HCSB Cash for Schools today.
Welcome back to the West Marshall High School. We're at halftime, where it is 1A number 5 South Hardin leading 1A number 6 West Marshall 20-0. Let's take a look around, see if we can find some other halftime scores. Looking at one right here, Appleton and Parkersburg on top of Grundy Center 14-7. Clear Lake all over Forest City 49-0. Marshalltown and Ames are at halftime. Ames leads that one 7-6. Iowa Valley on top of Don Bosco 34-18. Cam is leading Fremont Mills 30-28. Yeah, looks like that's about all the scores we're going to get. Right now, Nashville Plainfield on top of AGWSR 26-3. Osage leading Hampton Dumont Cal 14-7. In green, it is North Butler and is that West Fork? They are scoreless. And BCLUW and East Marshall also are scoreless. So got some interesting games here to start the season.
Andy, help me, because you know more about football than I do. It's just always interesting. You know, you remember in the old days, we'd be talking about conference, and now it's a district. So help me. Do most teams, does it depend on the size of the school? Do most teams play, help me, is it 3, maybe 4 non-district games, and then they roll into district play? Or maybe it matters for each class. I don't even know. But it's at least 3, I think, they play.
Yeah, it depends. I think for like the smaller schools, I think it's 8-player to 1A, they play maybe 2 non-district games. But I think 8-player goes into the district next week, and I think A goes into the district next week. So, a lot of those teams, they'll they'll start district play next week. So.
Well, and it's always interesting. Most coaches have a theory. Coaches don't like to lose, but I always find that coaches that lose district games, obviously they always put a positive spin on it, and they say, Chuck, this game really doesn't mean anything. I never know if I believe that or not. What really matters is district play. And I'm kind of thinking, maybe, I don't know, Andy, maybe high school football is kind of like, NFL preseason, where you try to still try to figure a few things out, because I think for the most part, and I talked to a lot of coaches, including Coach Eller and Coach Hackett, unlike the NFL that has a whole bunch of training camps, a whole bunch of practices, you don't have that in high school, so you're still kind of evaluating players. You're still trying, unless you have a team that's full of seniors, like maybe Grundy Center was last year, or even South Hardin, you pretty much still have a few question marks of where guys fit and where they go. Andy, do you find that to be the case sometimes?
Yeah, definitely, because you have the one scrimmage, and then it's game time, so you don't know what guys are going to do once they line up and get out there on the field. And obviously, as you said, the coach is always evaluating, and if you're evaluating the first half, you got to like what South Hardin quarterback Braden Weig did.
Well, and especially, isn't it interesting, Andy, because you always say, what could happen if things were a little bit different? Because, South Hardin, they had that situation. Then they threw they threw the pick there, and then West Marshall had that long pass play, and it was just like a couple of missed opportunities for West Marshall. And then for South Hardin, they had that interception, and then they they kind of stumbled a little bit. I think Weig overshot a couple of wide receivers, but then all of a sudden, Andy, it was just like something happened, and he was making connections with the long ball. He was always pretty good in the first half. Remember, he would complete some midterm passes, and the guys would get to the chains, and they would find the openings and things like that. But all of a sudden, the throws that he was missing early, he started to make. And I think they're two of their touchdowns, pretty long touchdown passes, right, Andrew?
Yeah, one of 50 and 62. He wound up with 177 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, the 1 pick. He was 9 of 14. And that's really the difference in the game right now. South Hardin with 185 yards, 177 through the air, just 8 yards rushing. Now, a big part of their rushing went away when Casey Williamson had to recover a fumble all the way back at the 1 on a pass that was thrown backwards. But Cam Adams held to just 23 yards rushing in the first half. So, if you're West Marshall defensively looking at stopping the run, you like that, but then the passing game is really what lit them up. For West Marshall offensively, they had just 39 yards of total offense. Hart was, 1 out of 7 for 34 yards, 2 interceptions, and did have that 34-yard pass to Edler.
And at least 1 sack, right? I think they got him that one time.
They got him one time. And then Hart rushed for 15 yards on 9 carries, and DeRossett rushed for -10 on 5 carries. So a lot of work for West Marshall to do in this second half. South Hardin right now coming out looking pretty good after kind of a tensious first quarter where their first 3 possessions they threw an interception, fumbled, and then punted, and then had to punt again. But then their last 3 possessions, they were able to put touchdowns on the board, 3 touchdown drives, but all quick drives for the most part. It was a 2-play drive on the 50-yard touchdown pass from Weig to Zoller, and then a 1-play drive on the 62-yard touchdown pass to Edey. And then after that, they kept the ball a little bit longer, went 6 plays, and got the 1-yard touchdown run by Cam Adams. And their fans have to be excited with the way this first half went.
And the other thing is, too, Andy, it's probably an old adage and that sort of thing, but, and I know we got a long second half, but, West Marshall's got the ball first, Andy. It's pretty big. I'm not saying if they don't score, they're going to lose this game. But I am saying they just really, really have to score to get some confidence and to get back into this game, make it a 2-score game. They can't be doing, a 35-second drive and give it right back to South Hardin.
No, I agree. I think this is the drive of the game. As you didn't want to quite go there, but yeah, this is the drive of the game. West Marshall has to come out and do something. Obviously, like you said, if they go 3 and out or if something bad happens, the game isn't necessarily over. But there's still a lot of time left in this football game. We still have 24 minutes left. And, anything's possible. So sometimes you have to get to the locker room to be able to make some adjustments. And we'll see what Coach Hackett and the other West Marshall coaches come up with. But then South Hardin might make an adjustment too. The biggest adjustment for West Marshall, they got to try and keep some of these South Hardin defensive linemen out of the backfield because they're just living in the backfield.
So maybe they'll do some passes or something early, and because they just can't keep getting in this 3rd and long situation. They're really not one for trick plays, but we'll see what happens.
Here's a live ball. Whitaker picks it up, tries to go up the near sideline, breaks a tackle, still on his feet, and then gets hammered down. And is that Cash Gills again? Man, that guy's been all over the field. And now a late penalty flag comes in as Adams and looked like Connor Yackel were discussing things. And we might have a unsportsmanlike conduct, maybe a 15-yard penalty coming up here.
Well, if that's against South Hardin, that helps West Marshall along with everything else. Except for one time, they haven't really had good field position there, Andrew.
That will be a 15-yard penalty. So that'll be a 15-yard penalty right out of the gates here against South Hardin. They had just 2 penalties in that first half.
Coach Eller, he's doing some hollering. And it's not at the players, man.
And there's another penalty.
And
so another flag came out. I don't know if Coach Eller was getting on
the
official.
we were zoomed in on Coach Eller, and he was not pleased.
And now a sideline warning.
I wonder because, if you're watching this.
Warning.
Yeah.
No 15 yards yet.
Yeah.
And Coach Eller, I think, wanted maybe an offsetting penalty as both. I didn't see what happened. I saw Adams walking away, and I saw Yackel walking away for West Marshall.
See, this is where I wish I could read lips for Coach Eller.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to talk to the other referee. He's talking to this guy.
Yeah, he wants to talk to the head referee. And some momentum a little bit here on West Marshall's side to start this second half. They're going to have good field position.
And he probably thinks his team was unfairly penalized and West Marshall didn't get anything out of the deal.
Their own 48-yard line. Again, I did not see what happened, so, sometimes emotions run high. Sometimes it's the second guy that gets caught if the first guy did something, but maybe the first guy didn't do something and the second guy did. We just didn't see it, or did you see something?
They're not done yet. Well, obviously the second penalty, we were right in on the coach when that happened, so that was easy, but the first one must have happened away from the ball because the tackle, it wasn't a dirty, there wasn't anything wrong with the tackle. It just kind of happened on the other side of the field. So maybe this gets West Marshall all pumped up. South Hardin's defense has been dang good here, Andy, so this kind of woke people up.
The wind picking up a little bit, too. They're putting on sweatshirts. Here's the handoff to DeRossett, straight up the middle, and
it's actually one of their better runs, Andy.
You got a few yards.
They haven't got a lot.
DeRossett with 4 yards on the ground.
We got drones up in the air. Wouldn't have been talking about that 10 years ago. At least I think it's a drone.
I think that is a drone. I didn't think drones were allowed at high school sporting events. Maybe it's up high enough nobody can see it, but you spotted it.
Well, it's flashing green. It scared me.
It's 2nd and 6.
Well, this is better than the 2nd and long thing.
Here's Hart back to pass. He's going to look deep down the right sideline. It's a jump ball, and it's almost intercepted. As a pretty good job by Edler. He had to turn into the defender, and he kind of jumped all over the back of Zoller. But if he didn't, Zoller has an easy interception.
Well, and I understand, trying for the home run ball, but that was good coverage. It wasn't like he was behind the defender. And maybe when he unloaded the ball, he was behind the defender for a step, but it just looked like that was pretty well defended. So 3rd and 5, this is actually better for West Marshall than in the first half where they were making a living off of like 3rd and 10 and 3rd and 12. So got to have the first down if you're the Trojans.
You got to wonder if it gets to 4th and short, if they might have a decision to make, but we'll see. It's 3rd and 5. Ball at the South Hardin 48-yard line, and penalty flags fly as the Tigers might have jumped off sides. And I think they did. Edler's pointing that way.
Yep.
And that'll be the second penalty
is that a first
against
down?
South Hardin. That'll be close. Looks like inches, maybe.
I don't even remember, Andy, if they've ever had a 3rd and short like this.
They have not had a lot of success on offense.
And I don't know it's 4-down territory unless something massively goes wrong for West Marshall.
Yeah, now it definitely is. You got to think this is hard quarterback keep, right? I mean, but maybe South Hardin's expecting that. 4 on the play clock,
they go backwards.
West Marshall jumps off on a false start.
Okay.
That's their first penalty since those 4 penalties they had right away in that first
Now we're back to the beginning.
quarter. And both teams with the pre-snap penalty. South Hardin jumps offside. Now it'll be 3rd and 6. 11:08 to go in this third quarter. South Hardin leading 20-0. West Marshall, a key drive coming out in the second half. Mum is split out to the left. Hart back to pass. The rush is on. Tries to step up, and he's dropped.
Probably lost
back
some yardage.
at the 50-yard line. As the sack made. And an injured player for South Hardin, and the Tigers worried. They're calling for the trainer. Now they're going to help him up. That will be number 52, Dawson Keys.
Andy, and this is, again, maybe this is where, South Hardin has that advantage because, West Marshall, they had no idea what Wag was capable of a quarterback, but South Hardin, they saw Hart last year, and they knew that that's the play that he would run. So what do you call that? So they had some guys stay home and maybe shadow him? It's like, I think they pretty much knew that was going to be the play.
Yeah, and now it's 4th and 9, so you have to punt. DeSoto back to punt. Going to try and pin South Hardin deep. The punt is not his best one, kind of towards the sideline. Williamson picks it up on the run. He's got a running start down that sideline. He's finally forced out of bounds at about the 40-yard line.
And took a shot in the stomach.
And they'll mark him actually closer to the 37.
So he's walking it off.
Maybe the 36 now, actually. And it'll be 1st and 10 for South Hardin. We'll see what type of adjustments South Hardin can make maybe to run the football a little bit better, and West Marshall can make to not give up these big plays.
Yeah, you wonder, are they going to go conservative or are they just going to keep on attacking?
And the ball's on the ground as White couldn't handle the snap.
Anything like that that's a negative play is a plus for West Marshall. And actually, Andy, well, except for the turnover, not a lot of negative plays for South Hardin. They seem to always get positive yardage and that sort of thing.
That'll be a 5-yard loss.
And no quarterback sacks?
They had a few negative plays, but yeah.
I don't remember them.
They didn't run as much because the run wasn't working, so they kind of opened up the pass. Adams was stopped in the backfield a few times. So now 2nd and 15. Williamson going back in motion. A lot of confusion. Back to pass is Weig. He'll pump. Now throw down the right side. He's got Williamson by himself. And he'll coast into the end zone for the touchdown.
Well, it's been answered. They are not going to be conservative. They're going to continue to attack.
As Williamson makes the catch and runs in for the touchdown. And it's 26-0.
See, I thought 5 took a shot there on that return, but apparently not.
That'll be
He's fine.
Another long pass. This one goes 69 yards to Williamson. And it's 26-0. Here's Spindler's kick, and that's been the biggest problem for South Hardin. They have not had a lot of luck with their kicks, but it has not mattered. There's a 69-yard touchdown pass from Weig to Williamson, and it's 26-0. South Hardin leading West Marshall. This is high school football on Rewind 93 KDAO and Radio on the Go Sports.
J&T Plumbing and Heating is ready to help with your home or business. From plumbing repairs and drain cleaning to heating, furnace, and air conditioning service, J&T Plumbing and Heating, keeping you comfortable year-round.
When your air conditioner, furnace, or plumbing fails, call Lon's Plumbing and Heating. For over 30 years, Lon's Plumbing and Heating in Rhinebeck has handled all your plumbing, air conditioning, and heating needs. Lon's Plumbing and Heating, your trusted local experts for more than 30 years.
Did you know Partner Communications offers electrical services? From changing lights to wiring a new home, we can help. We have free estimates. You can call Partner today at 641-498-7701.
Resting.
26-0 South Hardin as Weig with his third touchdown pass of the game. This time connecting with Williamson.
All long gainers, right, Andy?
Yeah. As Casey with his first touchdown, he had 8 touchdown receptions last year. Put him on a lot of the top wide receivers returning lists. Here's Whitaker on the kick towards the sideline. 15, 20, 25, 30, up to the 35, and he's going to be hammered out of bounds at right about the 35, maybe the 36. And there is a penalty flag down, and that was on the South Hardin sideline again. And we're going to have another personal foul against the Tigers. So
was it on the tackle?
Penalty.
I didn't think it was on the tackle. But
no, that flag came from all the way over on the other side of the field.
That's where that when we started the third quarter with that fiasco, that's where that first flag happened. Well, both of them on the other side of the field.
So again, West Marshall going to be in South Hardin territory. Or close to South Hardin territory. They're in South Hardin territory this time.
Well, South Hardin's defense, though.
Yeah, it's been locked. It has been unlocked for West Marshall. They just have not been able to get anything going. They haven't been able to run it, and the pass hasn't worked too well either, so it's not a lot of options. Here's going to be DeRossid, able to cut and break a tackle. And work his way up to about the 46-yard line.
Yeah, you always wonder in this situation if West Marshall will kind of change things. I mean, they still like to run the ball first, but especially as you work your way to the fourth quarter and the score is what it is, you may want to take some more chances. But I think they want to try to settle down. And actually, Andy, I don't remember too many drives where they've had back-to-back first downs. I really don't.
I don't.
No sustained drives, I don't think.
I mean, other than that pass to Edler, I don't remember many first downs for West Marshall. I haven't been keeping them. Here's going to be hard, and he stumbled down. That looked like he had some running room, and he kind of tripped up.
Well, and again, they know that's coming. I mean, they know West Marshall from last year and the year before, and they know that that's a stable play.
Maybe he tripped over his running back. Looked like he was talking to one of his players in the huddle.
And real quickly, Andrew, I think I'll get a picture of the full sturgeon moon.
Yes.
Very pretty. Really,
yeah.
very, very pretty.
Yeah, very pretty.
Because of the sturgeon fish. Those are those prehistoric scary fish, but that's beside the point.
3rd and 5.
It's true.
Just over 8 minutes to go in the third. Here's Hart looking, throwing, and the catch unable to be made by Edler.
Two had good defense.
He put that ball low away from Zoller, had a chance, but couldn't pull it in.
Andy, that's the other thing. Even when West Marshall passes, I just don't remember too many wide open receivers. And Weig has had some wide open receivers, good routes or whatever, but it's always been a really super tight window West Marshall's throwing into along with everything else.
Unless that chance, maybe you see fake punt, but West Marshall is going to punt it away to Sodal towards the sideline, kind of that coffin corner punt. We'll see where the ref marks it. And it looks like right at the 10-yard line. Pretty good punt. So DeSoto with a nice punt.
A long drive would be crushing for West Marshall. And maybe now, although I'm done predicting, because every time I think that South Hardin's going to run the ball, White comes out and throws the touchdown pass. But I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe, and especially this deep in their own territory, they just want to get a little maneuvering room here, maybe work on that run game.
Well, they've had receivers running wide open thus far, so we'll see if Wide continues to throw. Quick screen to Zoller in the flat, makes the catch, works his way up across the 15 to about the 17-yard line.
So they keep running. I mean, they keep passing. Coach Eller always says you got to be balanced if you want to go to the Unidome. And tonight, it's certainly been pass heavy.
Which has been surprising because, kind of looking at him, you would have thought Adams would be kind of that main focal point of their offense. So this is really big for South Hardin, and Weig has been terrific. You didn't know what was going to – you never know what's going to happen when you have that senior quarterback graduate. Here's Adams off the right side. He's going to be bottled up and pushed backwards. That run defense for West Marshall has been very good. They just have given up those big passes. I mean, they've held Adams to 24 yards. And I don't think many teams did that to him last year. He rushed for 1,283 yards and 14 touchdowns. He even had success running against Grundy Center a bit last year. Just over 7 minutes to go in this third quarter. 3rd and 2. Here's Weig looking to his right. Throws quickly to the flat. Williamson to catch. Breaks a tackle. He's got a first down across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. 14 yards on the pickup. And a first down.
Well, and again, every time West Marshall makes a missed tackle, it really jumps out at you because if you cover West Marshall football, they just pride themselves on making the tackles. And they missed a tackle that time.
92 yards receiving.
That got him out of the 10-yard line. And then just give him what the defense takes him. Just short little passes. A little bit of yards run after the catch.
This time Adams off the left side on the power run. He'll work his way up to about the 36. Still able to get positive yardage.
And keep that clock moving.
So he gets 4. And Briggs will split out to the left side. South Hardin running a little bit of a no-huddle offense here. Meister back as well. Weig looking. He'll throw it deep down the middle. He's got Spindler making the catch. And he's going to go in again. Touchdown.
He had great protection too, Andy. Great protection. Kid's got an arm. Peyton probably had an arm, but this kid's got an arm, and he had great protection. And they just continue to get behind the West Marshall defense.
As Weig just torching the West Marshall defense right now.
They're not playing conservative. I mean, they took what the defense gave them for about 20 yards, got a little maneuvering room, then they went and they tried to hit the home run again. And West Marshall's dang lucky they missed these PATs. Otherwise, we'd be talking about a continuous clock right now.
A 64-yard touchdown pass. And Weig in his South Hardin debut putting on a show.
They'll go for 2 here, Andrew.
Yeah, they're going to go for 2 because the PAT has been such a struggle. And they'll throw it to the flat, and Meister's got it. He's in, and the 2 is good.
I think that was the same play they ran the last 2-point conversion. And once again, Weig may not run the ball, but he certainly is active, and he's got footwork, and he can move, and he's just not a statue in that pocket, Andy.
A 64-yard touchdown pass for Weig. He's got 3:33 through the air tonight. It is 34-0, South Hardin.
High-speed internet shouldn't stop at the city limits. That's why RTU has expanded reliable internet service across rural Grundy and Tama counties with Traer coming soon. Main Street, not Wall Street. Learn more at rhinebeck.net.
API has you covered, literally. Top quality shingles, metal, rubber, and flat roofs, roofing and siding for home, farm, and business. See the API local showroom on Highway 175 East in Eldora. Free professional inspections and estimates. API roofing, siding, and gutters.
34-0. South Hardin leading at West Marshall. Still 5:56 to go in this third quarter. I don't know if it's been communication breakdown on that back end or what, but West Marshall just has not been able to keep South Hardin in front of them, and they've almost been running a lot of 4 vertical plays, and they've just been running open.
And I don't want to get ahead of myself, and maybe West Marshall have a big comeback, but if it stays this way, I just know one of the things I want to ask Coach Eller, the passing game tonight, was what West Marshall was giving them, or is that what they wanted to do?
Here's Edler running it up the middle. Good hole, and he hounds over Gills up close to the 35.
West Marshall had some opportunities the first couple of drives, didn't they, Andy? Remember the crazy penalties? And they were actually in South Hardin territory, I think, 2 times in a row. But again, they just
have not had any offense.
Nope. They shut them down. They take away the run. Don't remember the last time West Marshall's completed the pass.
Just that one to Edler that was 34 yards.
And they don't have the home run hitter right now that they had last year. And South Hardin pretty much knows when Hart's going to run the ball.
Well, and their defensive line is just, both defensive lines have dominated. It's just South Hardin's offensive line is blocked really well on the pass. Here will be a handoff, able to get outside. That'll be a hold as DeRosset nearly had it ripped out by Spindler. But Adams got grabbed.
Yeah, they get a positive play, and there you go.
That'll be a holding penalty. That's 40 yards in penalties now against West Marshall. As that one was right on the defensive end. Adams, if you're going to hold, you tend to want to hold as one of those interior linemen because nobody can see you. When you're that guy on the outside, everybody can see you. And usually you can't get away with that.
Obviously, Andy was an interior lineman for Coach Weeder at East Marshall because he knows how to hold and get away with it. Obviously, if you learn nothing else from that conversation, you learn that.
Hey,
Coach Weeder
not holding unless they call it.
Coach Weeder probably taught you how to hold legally and get away with it. That'd be something he would do.
Here's Hart back to pass, rolling out to his left. He'll throw on the run. He's got a man. That is Whitaker as he takes it out across the original line of scrimmage and up to about the 40-yard line.
I will be honest, Andy. I don't know how he got rid of that ball because I'll be honest with you. I had the camera on him, and I couldn't see him because he was just like surrounded by all these tall Tiger guys.
As Whitaker makes the catch on the sideline. That'll take it up to the 40. West Marshall just looking really to get a first down.
Get a couple back-to-back and just start to rebuild some positivity here.
You're a long way away from coming back in this game, but you want to start to build momentum to next week. Here's a post, and Edler makes the diving catch in front of Zoller at the 41-yard line. So that'll be a gain of 19. Couple of nice plays.
Deep as they've been, close to the 40.
For West Marshall is Edler with his second catch. That'll be 1st and 10 at the South Hardin 41. West Marshall driving for the first time tonight. Here is DeRosset, able to cut back, has a hole, and he's run down by Gills.
I think that might have been the best run of the night from a running back.
He takes it up to about the 37.
Certainly is easier when you do the 2nd and 4 and 2nd and 5 as compared to the 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 10s.
It'll put DeRosset over the, positive yardage. He's now got 1 yard. He was in the negative for a long time. Giles again, he's been all over the field. It'll be second about 6. It'll be hard on the keeper, straight up the middle, and he's got a first down to about the 30-yard line. A little quarterback read action.
That's when they're at their best, Andy, when they can mix that stuff up with a little help with the running back, and then here comes the quarterback read, and you pull it down. That's when they're at their best.
And there's not been a lot of positive yardage for him running the ball here tonight. Well, we don't have a lot of negative yard plays, just not a lot of, they did early. They had some negative yard plays. So first and 10, ball at the South Hardin 30. Hart dropped it, ball's kicked loose. It's still loose and recovered by DeRossett.
1 yard loss, could have been worse. I thought 21 was going to jump on that for South Hardin.
It was almost kicked right to the South Hardin defender, Fonts. But Manning couldn't quite get on it. And West Marshall fortunate that DeRossett was right there. Just over 3 minutes to go in this third quarter. South Hardin leading 34-0. Second and 11. Hart will keep it and gets hit right as he got into the hole. As that is that man Giles again.
Wonder if they have a spy on the quarterback? Maybe Giles is that guy.
Yeah, he might be. He's
where you have one job, and that's that's when Hart has to do the trickery, the deception.
And he is the middle linebacker. So, and South Hardin's linebackers last year had a lot of tackles. And Giles starting out big in this game. I've called his name a lot. 3rd and 9, Hart back to pass. Looking, he'll throw to his right for Edler. It's deflected and falls to the ground as Zoller got a hand on it. Was looking for Edler on a little out route. Had a chance there, but there were 2 defenders in the area. So it'll be 4th and 9. West Marshall obviously going to go for it here. Ball at the South Hardin 29-yard line. This is where we'll see if Hart looks for Whitaker, Edler, maybe Mum. A lot of options. Down to 3 on their 4th down to 7 on the play clock. Hart back to pass, looking left, now rolls back to the middle, throws down the field, and it's going to fall incomplete as he was trying to connect with Wilson Buckley. And there was contact. Both players kind of fell to the ground, but didn't look like anything that would have caused a penalty. And West Marshall will turn it over on downs. So South Hardin now will take over at their own 29.
I think West Marshall just wants to, it's easy to say on the radio here, with what we've seen tonight, try to keep people in front of them.
Yeah, it looks like we've got some new corners out there for West Marshall. Number 32. As Weig will hand it off to Adams. He'll try and get up the field. Now they're picking him up into the air, and he's kind of pushed his way forward.
Well, and as you said, Andy, right now, if you're South Hardin, you got 2:08 left, and you're up by a score of 34-0. It's it's just about positive yardage, even if it's 2 or 3 at a time, and keeping the clock going. Try to pick up a couple of first downs.
There's Calvin Streeter, the cornerback, in here on this right side now. The secondary for West Marshall has had a tough night. As it's Buckley, Edler, and Streeter. And Zoller and Meester here to the near side. Pistol formation. It'll be a handoff to Adams. First time he's gotten some running room. Breaks the tackle across the 45 out to midfield. And he's finally brought down, but there is an injured player down back at about the 31. This may be a cramping situation.
Yeah,
and looks
you got
like
somebody at the 50. Is that the running back?
Is that Adams? He might be cramping too.
Well, maybe he's tired because he carried a West Marshall kid on his back for like 10 yards, Andy. I mean, 22, he did the best he could. I think it was 22 for West Marshall. He did the best that he could, but I mean, he hopped on his back and the running back just kind of took him for a piggyback ride.
Well, that's what you talked about early in the game. We haven't seen a lot of this yet, but as we get deeper into the game, first game of the year, you start to get some of this cramping situation. And you're always thankful when players go down and then they start to stretch them out because it's like, well, it's not serious. It's just a cramp. But
so they give them some intravenous, like, what is it, pickle juice?
I think that is one of the things they can do.
Okay.
And that's Giles who's down. So Giles and Adams.
Bananas and pickle juice.
Yeah, bananas for sure. I know bananas, high potassium. And pickle juice, yeah, I think that is the other one they do.
Nan says pickle juice. If Nan says pickle juice, pickle juice.
1st and 10 at midfield. As Adams with his best run of the night. 18 yards, now up to 49 yards rushing.
I still got to think somewhere along the line, Andy, and maybe even next Friday, we're going to have a hot night for football because you know that's probably coming up down the road here. But you're right. On a usual, typical night, we would have you've had games, Andy, where they have extra water breaks. Probably not extra pickle juice breaks, but extra water breaks.
Very true.
Extra pickle juice breaks, that would be ridiculous.
Next week we will be in Sheffield as BCLUW will travel to West Fork. And actually, for West Marshall fans, Elwyn and Austin will make their way to New Hampton for the West Marshall-New Hampton game next week.
I did a playoff game up there, didn't I? I always get New Hampton mixed up. Yeah, New Hampton. That was the game a few years ago where West Marshall got down early by a bunch and kind of made a little comeback in the third quarter. I remember that. Nice facility. Nice facility. And then I've got West Marshall volleyball with Madrid on Monday night at 6:30 right here in State Center. I love those early matches. 6:30. And we want to thank J.C. Large for supplying us with treats tonight. Thank you, J.C. And thank you for the Ethernet.
Yeah, looks like some other scores. East Marshall and BCLUW tied at 6, so it's like a fun game going on in Conrad tonight.
That's always a traditional game opener up there for years, isn't it, Andy?
They have played the last several years. Here it'll be Font, says the running back now behind Weig. Weig will look to throw quick, finds Williamson in the flat, got a block. He's got a first down to the 35-yard line. As Meester out there to make that block for him. That's a 15-yard gain.
Got to give South Hardin credit. They're not sitting around playing checkers. I mean, they just continue to attack.
Well, that's honestly the biggest difference in the game is South Hardin can go to a quick pass like that and pick up 15 easy yards, and West Marshall they might be able to down the line, but they have not been able to tonight. And South Hardin continuing to march.
Yeah.
Weig looking for his 4th touchdown pass. He's going to hand this one off to Font. He runs over the defender, throws the big stiff arm, gets to the 30, 25, and he's finally going to be brought down at about the 23-yard line.
Is that his first carry, Andy? I don't remember him carrying the ball too much. I don't know. That maybe that's another weapon.
Well, he's normally the fullback because Adams is the running back, so he normally plays fullback. But with Adams out, he is taken over at running back, and he picks up 12 yards. A little bit of a surprising score. Appleton Parkersburg leading Grundy Center 20-7 at the end of 3 quarters.
Well, and of course, West Marshall fans know who the AP coach is, Zach Fonts.
Well, and Grundy Center, yes, they did lose that game last year in the semifinals, but I mean, they probably haven't lost a regular season game in a long time. But that'll be the end of the third quarter. We will head to quarter number 4. It's all South Hardin leading West Marshall 34-0 on Rewind 93 KDAO and Radio On The Go Sports.
Colotel Fiber is connecting Iowa communities to the future. Enjoy reliable fiber internet with managed Wi-Fi, unlimited use, and no data caps. Colotel Fiber, fast, reliable, and local. Cooley Pumping and Sanitation is family-owned and offers septic pumping, drain cleaning, portable restrooms, inspections, dumpsters, and roll-offs. Cooley Pumping and Sanitation, experienced, dependable, and ready to help.
We'll be there when we come back.
34-0, South Hardin, as we go into the fourth quarter.
I was talking about Andy's chair, by the way, when we came back, so that's what I was doing.
The Tigers, they lost a lot of talent off of last year's team that made it to the state semifinals, but they have been awfully impressive tonight, including quarterback Braden Weig, as he is 14 of 20, 348 yards, 3 touchdowns, did have that one pick.
Yeah, that was very early, wasn't it? And then he overthrew a wide receiver, and then since then, he's been money.
And the snap a little bit low. Adams gets it on the handoff, and Eldridge, man, these linebackers for West Marshall, they can definitely stop the run, but
that's the first time for a long time they've actually stopped somebody for a negative play.
It'll be a loss back to the 27. That'll be a loss of 4. That was after Adams had his best run of the night, 18 yards. Williamson split out to the left. Twins to the right. Weig looking to the left. Williamson got a hand on it, and I think he saw Kielman coming and could not haul it in. That might be the first incompletion by Weig in quite a while.
Hope he's okay. 5 hobbled off the field there, Andy. I think he went down kind of awkward, kind of ran, kind of hobbled, ran off the field. So
Williamson comes off. South Hardin's gotten some different receivers in. There's Jack Weeding in there, number 31. Also Briggs split out to the right side. Spindler and Meester to the left. It'll be 3rd and 14. It'll be Adams up the middle, breaks a tackle. He'll fall forward to about the 20-yard line. He got 7.
And you got a West Marshall player down. So now this is always interesting, Andy. You're kind of in no man's land, so I guess you go for it, right?
His 18th carry of the night. Up to 52 yards now.
I think we got a pickle juice thing here.
Well, looks like.
Well, we got another injury. We got 2 of them. Now the one on the left.
Yeah, that might be more serious.
Yes.
The cramp, not so serious. The arm.
Yeah.
That could be more serious.
Yeah, Coach Hackett is standing over the guy that has the hurt arm.
So 11:01 to go in the game.
You know, Andy, I was just thinking. Of course, I get in trouble when I think. You know, we talked about South Hardin. They went to the Unidome last year, and they lost all those seniors and things like that. Now, you probably are more familiar, but sometimes I wonder if South Hardin, blew away a lot of people, and so a lot of these younger guys, got some varsity time, and so all of a sudden, after a year of that, all of a sudden they played some varsity minutes. And there's also a theory, Andy. I mean, if you practice against some really, really good football players in practice when it's your turn, you're going to be pretty good. So
that's true. You just
I have no point to that, Andy.
You never know kind of what to expect. With I think when you build a winning tradition, guys want to keep winning, and they see maybe their teammates win and the way they win, and they want to follow in those footsteps and win again. Because now, if you remember, last year was the first time ever that South Hardin as a school made it to the Dome. Obviously, ENP.
Mr. Jayden had all those teams.
Yeah, when they were Eldora and Providence, they did make it. But South Hardin's first time making it was last year. And, coming into the season, there were some question marks. But Weig has seemed to answer those questions in a big way here against a pretty good defense of West Marshall that we think is going to be a pretty good defense. They've obviously been hurt with the pass here tonight.
And a few missed tackles. I know Coach Hackett, that makes Coach Hackett crazy. And like I said, had it not been for some PATs, I mean, that missed, this game, could be close to over with the 35-point thing.
It definitely
But I
could
think,
be.
because South Hardin got up by 1, then they got up by 2 scores and 3 scores, and then it just, and we got some of the ambulance crew guys coming over here. And then I think it just got tough for West Marshall because of this. You mentioned, at this point in time, I think they still are working on their passing game.
Yeah, I think the injured player for West Marshall, unfortunately, is Damian Ficken. And he is who they're working on. You wonder if maybe he broke his arm? I don't know. Man, they're sure. Maybe they're waiting for the ambulance people to get here because.
Well, the ambulance guys are right there looking at the guy with the bad arm on the bench.
Well, the one guy's cramping still, and he just can't stop the cramp. Well, now he's going to start to come off the field. He's about to go down again. Now he's sliding off the field.
The coach is directing him off the field.
Coach Hackett trying to get him off the field. And there he made it. And now they'll stretch him out over there. Just barely made it off the field.
I know how the guy feels. Sometimes I've had a cramp when I'm sleeping at night. It's terrible. No, really, it's bad. And I elevate my leg. I mean, this is too much information, but still.
I've been there. Here's Weig on the run. Throws back across his body, and it's nearly intercepted.
But I don't wake up and drink pickle juice because I have none in the refrigerator.
And that was 4th down. So with all the craziness,
that was crazy.
We kind of missed what was happening. But a turnover on downs. 10:57 to go in the game. We'll hope for the best for Ficken.
Yeah, we called his names. We've called his name a couple times tonight.
Yeah, I think he started on the line for the offensive line for West Marshall, and he's been on the defensive line. He was the left guard. So we'll see what type of adjustments West Marshall will make. The offensive line.
I think they just like to get a score, and end things on a positive note.
Here's DeRossid trying to get the corner. He's able to, and he's pushed out of bounds on the West Marshall sideline.
And Andy, West Marshall had those chances early, and then remember, speaking of crazy things, how that crazy third quarter unfolded with the penalties, and again, West Marshall had opportunities. They were in South Hardin territory, and then the Tiger defense, they just got back to business and started holding them to 3rd and long again.
It's really, they haven't been able to get those long runs.
And we notice on those 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7s, the linebacker, kind of the shadow of Hart.
Here's Hart off the right side, and he's got a first down to about the 30. So a 3-yard pickup, that will be enough for a first down.
And as you said, I don't know if he's a spy or not, or he's just a dang good middle linebacker, but wherever Hart is, usually 54 is right there with him, tackling him, or very close to where Hart is at all the time.
Yeah, Cash Giles is at a big game.
And maybe that's just the job of middle linebacker, or maybe tonight Coach Eller says you have to pay special attention to Hart because that's their main weapon. I don't know.
1st and 10, ball at the West Marshall 30. It'll be a fake handoff. Hart able to keep it, breaks a couple tackles, works his way up, now spins across the 38 to 39. And a pickup of 9.
If I remember right, I'm sorry, Andy. If I remember right, last time I think, didn't West Marshall have a good drive and then it fizzled out on the 4th down thing? So.
And West Marshall lost this game last year 28-7, but then went on and won 3 straight. So, I mean, you never know how a team will respond to a tough loss right out of the gates. Here's Hart back to pass, throws the little curl, and Edler makes the diving catch. He's got the first down to the 44-yard line.
Is Edler the only one wide receiver, I think, that's caught a pass, right? So maybe
Whitaker has one.
Okay. I was just getting ready to say they, trying to get maybe some more guys involved in the offense.
58 yards receiving now for Edler. Whitaker's got 15 yards on one catch. I mean, if you look at that, the stats coming back, there weren't a lot of guys that had a lot of catches, so you knew it was going to be a lot of new players.
And there never really is for the West Marshall in their pass game.
Here's DeRosset. And that's a blatant hold on the corner as DeRosset fights his way across the 50, but that's going to be coming back.
And he saw the flag before they threw the flag. He knew that.
So holding will be the call against West Marshall. That's 50 yards and penalties. And when your offense is struggling, you can't afford those penalties.
Well, the other thing is, too, Andy, I know it's just a little thing, and I don't know much about football, but I just kind of assume in practice West Marshall probably doesn't practice too much against the pass. So sometimes maybe sometimes it's, in a game it's hard to play against it.
True, you got to have the openness of the offense. Maybe South Hardin's wideouts caught him by surprise a bit.
Well, they got behind the defense a lot, and then, as you said, White just throws a dang strong ball. And most of those passes, he had dang good protection. So the line, Young, did a good job.
Here's Hart back to pass. He'll step up, wanted to let one go. Instead, he'll just lower his shoulder and take a big hit.
Yeah.
As he got some of the yardage back.
And we saw that with his brother, too. I mean, early in the year, you take those hits, but then all of a sudden, later in the year, you get a little dinged up.
Actually got it to the 37, so give him 3 yards on the run.
Under 8.
He earned it. And South Hardin, barring something crazy happening, going to move to 1-0. And they will host, I believe they host Iowa Falls Alton next week.
They do.
As Hart back to pass, looking, he'll step up, got away from Meester, spins off a defender.
Taking some shots.
Gets it to the 40. They're still fighting out there. 3 more yards for Hart.
Andy, do these non-district games mean anything for the playoffs?
I mean, technically no, but if you want to have a high ranking, I guess they could mean something potentially. Like if, say, West Marshall and South Hardin are both have the same amount of wins or something, they might look at it, but I doubt it. Really, you want district play is where you got it. Good pass, and Buckley able to hold on out to the 49-yard line. That'll be his first catch. But really, it's a non-district game, so it doesn't truly matter for playoffs. It means more for the 5A teams because they do everything by RPI. So it'll be 4th down and 5. As Hart back to pass, looking, he's under pressure, going to step up, he'll throw it deep, he had Whitaker wide open, but he overshot him by a good 10 yards.
Yeah, maybe some of those cornerbacks were coming up because they saw Hart moving and then they got behind the defense and a wasted opportunity.
And South Hardin will take over. We'll see if maybe South Hardin might bring some of their backups into the game with the way the score is. Or if they'll stick with Weig and Adams and all the starters.
Well,
it is the first game of the year, so maybe you want to.
And a 34-0 score means you're pretty happy, but you know how coaches nitpick. And Coach Eller will probably talk about special teams and the points and the extra points.
Yeah, that's been the only problem for South Hardin, although the run game hasn't really been all too effective.
And then you always go back to that theory. Some coaches, but you got 3 coaches, Andy, that says the biggest improvement is between the first and the second game. Then you got 3 coaches that say, no, we improve every single game for the rest of the year. So
I've always heard that biggest improvement is from the first to the second game. And sometimes you just...
And not a real sloppy game, Andy. I mean, couple turnovers, There
was
were a few
sloppy
penalties.
early.
Well, it was a little sloppy in the start of the third quarter. We had some fireworks in the start of the third quarter.
Well, now what are they doing? They calling timeout?
Well, they went over and they talked to Coach Hackett, and then they went over and they talked to Coach Eller. So they were doing a lot of talking, but I didn't hear any whistles that called for a timeout.
I'm not sure.
So if I zoom in on Coach Eller, maybe I can read lips again.
Well, now they're walking back over.
Yeah. So they're talking, and then they're obviously they're doing a lot of pointing because that's just what happens. You do a lot of pointing.
So now they'll come out and get ready to run the play here with 6:10 to go in the game. And it will still be Weig, it appears. And it is a new running back, though. So as we thought, they might have some new players out there. And Adams sitting. It will be a handoff, and hitting the backfield is going to be number 28. That is Parker Pagel. So Pagel goes backwards.
Well, in South Hardin's, the passing game, obviously, but the run game, I just say it's been respectable tonight. Now, as you go along, you want to get more than just respectable.
It's been okay at times.
I was trying to be nice. It's been respectable. And West Marshall's done a good job on the run. It's just the problem is that they've gotten guys beat them behind the defense for those long passes.
It'll be 2nd and 11.
And they haven't sacked Weig at all.
And there's a false start penalty as Williamson got a head start. So 55 yards now in penalties for South Hardin. That'll back them up to the 44-yard line. So the penalty. So 2nd and 15. Clock is rolling, but it's not continuous yet because it's just 34-0.
They missed all those PATs, otherwise it would be, and we'd be going home by now.
So 5 minutes to go in the game. It'll be Pagel on the run up the middle. Big hole opens. He'll lower his shoulder as he tries to run over Edler, who is trying to rip the ball out. And Pagel takes it to the West Marshall 43-yard line.
Maybe the longest run from scrimmage, Andy, although the starting running back had a nice run a couple of drives ago.
Yeah, Adams had that 18-yarder. I think that's still the longest. So it'll be 3rd and 4. That was an 11-yard pickup for Pagel. And it'll be 3rd and 4. Weig
all over the place.
Fakes the handoff to Pagel. He'll keep it himself. Now slides down. I think he's just shy of the first down. Remember, it's where the slide starts, not where you end up. And he got 3 yards, but he is short. Well, no, they got the first. Yeah, they messed that up. It's 4th down. They had first down over there on the side. The clock running. Nobody really in any mood to stop the clock. Score the way it is.
I don't think we've had any timeouts in this half, Andrew.
I don't think we have. Weig under center, quarterback keep, and he's got the first down and more.
Is that his first run of the night?
2nd. He just ran that 3-yard gain. So he gets it to the 36. 4-yard pickup for Weig. And he's now got positive yards rushing with 2 yards. And he'll come off the field, it looks like. So that'll be all for Weig. What a debut for him as the starting quarterback. And now here's Colton Eller coming on to take over at quarterback. Well, Eller will be the new quarterback. And he will hand it off to Pagel, who is hit right at the line of scrimmage. And might have got a yard. But a successful opening night for South Hardin.
Probably got to give a shout out to the offensive line. They were young. Matter of fact, I heard that a couple of the guys that were running backs last year made the switch to the offensive line. That's quite a switch. You don't see that too much. I don't know. Maybe you do.
It depends. I mean, you get those athletic guys, they're perfect for guards because you can pull them. The tackles you think of, usually your big guys are your tackles. Your guards are kind of your guys that you can move. So if you're a bigger running back, here's a handoff and hit in the backfield. That'll be number 3, Wade Lawler, as he had nowhere to go.
And you know what, Andy, I'm sure West Marshall, of course they don't want to lose this game, but I'm sure they look at that, well, like you said earlier, look at us last year. We lost the first game and ended up having a fine season, so one game does not define us. But, they do got to work on a few things. Offensive line, it's a beginning for them.
The pass defense has to. There's too many guys running wide open. It's got to be a communication issue. Because South Hardin just had too many guys running wide open.
I think this is our first time out of the second half.
And South Hardin will take the time out. The Tigers take their first time out. West Marshall with all 3 timeouts. A minute 20 to go. This is really not what I was expecting. I thought we were going to have a really close game, and both running backs would kind of decide the game, but Weig was fantastic.
Yeah, because we pretty much knew, when we covered these teams, we pretty much knew what West Marshall had with Hart, because obviously we saw them all last year, but really didn't have any idea what South Hardin had with Weig.
We knew what South Hardin had with Adams, too, so we thought, kind of the knowns that they were going to be the guys.
And as you said, didn't also South Hardin have to replace some wide receivers, too, at least one?
Well, Benson. It'll be a high snap. Eller will toss it to Lawler, and he's got nowhere to go. As he'll be dropped back to the 40. Lawler a couple of carries for -5 yards. About to go under a minute. It will be 4th down. And South Hardin facing 4th and 15. Here's the fake handoff. Eller will roll to his left, throws in the flat. The catch is made. He's going to be dropped. That is Niall Kicks with the catch.
Andy, that's been a good play all night long. The rolling out. We saw White do that a lot, didn't we? Rolling out, hitting the guy in the flat.
It will be a turnover on downs, but a nice completion for a couple of yards for Eller. Might have been his first career completion. And Kicks with 2 yards. Now, what will West Marshall do here with just 26 seconds? Is 53 for West Marshall trying to come back on. And he's still kind of cramping up. Is he about to go down again? Bryce Crawford. And Hart's just going to take a knee. So West Marshall will end this one with the knee. And what a performance by South Hardin tonight as they shut out West Marshall on the road. They defeat the Trojans 34-0. As Braden Weig with a terrific night throwing the football as he throws for 348 yards and 3 touchdowns. So what a performance for Weig. we will come back and talk about it. South Hardin improves to 1-0. West Marshall falls to 0-1. We'll take a break and come back with your final stats and wrap this one up from State Center, but an impressive start for South Hardin coming off that trip to the Unidome. And now a 34-0 win in week one. We'll take a break, come back with final stats. It's all coming up for you on Rewind 93 KDAO and Radio on the Go Sports.
The Eldora Hy-Vee store offers large town variety with small town friendliness. Find everything you need from fresh produce and quality meats to bakery favorites and everyday essentials. The Eldora Hy-Vee store, big selection, hometown service.
Farm Bureau Financial Services offers customized coverage for your farm, machinery, livestock, and more. All in one policy, one premium, and one deductible. Contact Farm Bureau agent Kyle Blom or sales associate Justin Teesing in Rhinebeck.
GNB Bank is a proud supporter of Grundy Center and surrounding communities. Count on your hometown team at GNB Bank for protection and all your customized banking needs. GNB Bank is there when you need them. GNB Bank, member FDIC, banking you can count on.
In Ziering, McCallsburg, St. Anthony, Clemens, and the surrounding areas, Minerva Valley Companies is your local provider for high-speed fiber internet, telephone service, and digital video TV. Napa Farmers Feed and Supply in Rhinebeck is your local source for auto repair, tire repair, oil changes, and on-the-farm tire service. Call 319-788-2000. RTU doesn't just serve Rhinebeck. We've brought high-speed internet to rural Grundy and Tama counties, and we're soon going to be in Traer. Your hometown provider, growing with the community. RTU. Learn more at Rhinebeck.net.
Show your school pride every time you shop with the People's Savings Bank School Pride Debit Card. Choose from AGWSR, Dike New Hartford, or Gladbrook Rhinebeck. Every swipe helps support your local schools. Stop by any PSB location and get yours today. Member FDIC.
34-0. South Hardin defeats West Marshall tonight. An impressive victory for the Tigers as they hold the West Marshall offense to just 126 yards of total offense, 49 yards rushing, 77 yards through the air as quarterback Blake Hart finished 4 of 15 for 77 yards and 2 interceptions for West Marshall. Tegan Edler was his favorite target. He had 3 catches for 58 yards. Drake Whitaker, 1 catch for 15 yards, 1 catch for 9 yards for Buckley. For Turner DeRosset, he had 9 carries for 8 yards. Hart was 17 carries for 41 yards. For South Hardin, the Tiger offense was all about the pass tonight, as 348 yards passing for Weig, as he had some big plays in this one, as his 3 touchdown passes, 1 of 50, 1 of 62, and 1 of 69. Oh, and then another one of 64. So he had 4 touchdown passes, not 3. 4 touchdown passes for Weig, and all of them over 50 yards. And just really impressive. Obviously, there were receivers running open, but you still have to hit them. The run game was kind of shut down for South Hardin tonight. Cam Adams finished with 18 carries, 52 yards unofficially. But 52, 15, 35, 37, 49, 60, and -5, so about 55 yards rushing for South Hardin. But with that passing total, they rack up 403 yards of total offense, as AP has defeated Grundy Center 27-7. It's the first time since 2018 that Grundy Center with back-to-back losses. Of course, they lost in the state semifinals to Regina, and they lose tonight to Appling and Parkersburg. But what a start to the Zach Fonts era. As a tough start for Grundy Center, but impressive start for AP as they upset Grundy Center 27-7. But what a performance by quarterback Braden Weig as he finishes 14 of 22, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns, did throw the 1 pick. Early in the game, it was on a deflected ball. And after that, though, he was locked in. He threw 2 touchdown passes in the second quarter, a 50-yard touchdown score to Colby Zoller, then a 62-yard touchdown pass to Reagan Edie, and that made the score 12-0. South Hardin would add another touchdown, a 1-yard run by Cam Adams, his only touchdown, as he had 52 yards on 18 carries and a touchdown. And then in the third quarter, the passing touchdowns would continue as Weig would connect with Williamson for a 69-yard score. That made it 26-0. And then the final touchdown for South Hardin would come in that third quarter, a 64-yard touchdown pass to Spindler. So he got a lot of guys involved tonight with the touchdown passes. He connected with 6 different receivers, and all 4 of his touchdown passes went to different receivers, as the top receiver is Williamson with 92 yards receiving and that long 69-yard touchdown. Then you have Spindler had 86 yards receiving on 4 catches. Zoller with 57 yards on 2 catches. Edie had the 62-yard touchdown on just the 1 catch. 12 yards receiving for Briggs. And then the 2 yards for Kicks is the, actually Kicks doesn't count because he was Colton Eller's pass. So Eller came on and was 1 of 1 for 2 yards. But impressive for South Hardin. Again, Cam Adams held to 52 yards on 18 carries, did have a touchdown. Williamson 1 carry for -15, but that was just because he was recovering a fumble. Weig had just 3 carries for 2 yards, so he was not a runner, at least tonight. Manning Fonts 1 carry for 12 yards. Parker Pagel with 3 carries for 11 yards. And then Lawler was held to 2 carries for -5 yards as South Hardin shuts out and blows out West Marshall in this Week 1 contest. We will take one more break, then come back with what we have coming up for you next week, as it'll be another busy week of sports on Radio on the Go.
Show your school pride every time you shop with the People's Savings Bank School Pride Debit Card. Choose from AGWSR, Dike New Hartford, or Gladbrook Rhinebeck. Every swipe helps support your local schools. Stop by any PSB location and get yours today. Member FDIC.
34-0 is the final score as South Hardin takes care of business in a big way here tonight against West Marshall. Next up for both of these teams, they have tough challenges ahead of them as South Hardin will play Iowa Falls Alden at home, so they'll get to host the Cadets. That's that great rivalry at South Hardin and Iowa Falls Alden, as the Tiger players over giving a shout out to the fans. And West Marshall will go to New Hampton. Now that'll be a 7:30 kick for the New Hampton game. So 7:30 for New Hampton. And then we will have more South Hardin and West Marshall football coming up for you. Don't forget, next week you can listen to the West Marshall-New Hampton game. That will be on our KDAO AM station, 94.3, or you can watch on the Radio on the Go YouTube page. So that will be coming up for you next week. Elwyn and Austin will have the call from New Hampton as they will make the trip there. Chuck and I will head to Sheffield as BCLUW will go on the road to play West Fork next week. So we will head north for that one. That will be a 7 o'clock game. And then our next South Hardin game would be on September 11th, as we'll make our way to Hudson for the Tigers district opener well, no, I don't think that's district opener. That is just a regular game. But they will play at Hudson on September 11th. Then we'll have their game at Eagle Grove on September 18th. Of course, their game versus Grundy Center on October 2nd. And their game at Clarion Goldfield Dows on October 9th. For West Marshall, we will come back here October 2nd when they take on Panorama. As Trojans fall tonight, but I'll hope for better nights in the coming weeks. But South Hardin impressive. Didn't quite know what to expect in this one. Both teams had lost some talent. Both teams had some talent coming back. But it is South Hardin with a impressive victory here tonight. Let's see if we can get some scores for you before we sign off. As Chuck already down talking to the coaches. But see if we can get some scores for you. As I don't know, it went back to last year's games. That's not what I want. So we'll try and get those scores for you here quick. And then we will wrap things up and move on to week 2 of the high school football season. As right now in the fourth quarter, Grinnell and Nevada tied at 13. Marshalltown leading Ames 16-15. Dike New Hartford was up on Jessup 35-0 at halftime. Iowa Falls Alden leading Webster City 26-3. Nashua Plainfield all over AGWSR 32-3. And it looks like that's all the scores that we're going to get here. Thought I had more that might come in, but not meant to be. But it is 34-0 is the final score here tonight. South Hardin impressive behind junior quarterback Braden Weig, making his Tiger debut as the starting quarterback, and did not disappoint as he throws for 348 yards and 4 touchdowns. For Chuck Carpenter, I'm Andy Jennings saying so long from State Center. This has been a presentation of high school football on KDAO Rewind 93 and Radio On the Go Sports.